Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to episode 104 of the Snarp Fangle podcast. I'm your host, Jake Metzger, a man who's got some pleasant memories of that wonderful sandwich shop back in Ravenholm before the rise of the Iron Curtain. And my co-host this week is a man who has seen the light as well as the dark. His opinion of postmillennialism brings some questionable ethics, but we love him anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, David Reed.
Yo.
How are you, Mr. Reedman?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good to hear. Good
All
to
that
see you.
Postmillennialism is treating me well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. The predictions are, well, they're there for you, David. Okay, anyway. And our guest this week, someone who just needs a massive whiff of those ashes, as the G-Man would say. So those sweet, sweet G-Man quotes. Can't get enough of them. And I can only surmise that his antics of hacking high school computers would make Dr. Kleiner proud, although it might have brought some unforeseen consequences. Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Toss.
Hello.
How are you, Jacob?
I'm doing mighty fine this evening.
Hey, good to see you. Good to have you. Let's get into
be
it,
here.
gentlemen. For any and all inquiries and why you would want a potential Half-Life 5, Opposing Force 4, Alex 3, or Black Mesa 2, send them on over to snarpfanglepod@gmail.com, or you can just text Jake. Well, boys, let's grab our crowbars and let's jump right in. All right. So today on the podcast, I kind of gathered you two together because I want to kind of look back and maybe look forward as we near the end of the show. But right now, I want to take a look at a little gaming franchise, a one that has been around since 1998 and was conceived back in the 96, I believe. So about 30 years ago, as of recording of this podcast, was when it was birthed in the minds of Gabe Newell and Mike Harrington back in the 90s. The two men came together and they said, hey, we have a lot of stock in Microsoft, and you know what? Doom is the most best-selling piece of software in the industry. It's beating out Windows. It's beating out everything. So what do we do about that? What if we get in on this action? Quake's on the horizon. What if we start up our own company? So they did up in, I believe, Seattle, Washington. I could be wrong about that, but somewhere in Washington, they went up there. And they got together and made a little company called Valve. And I just found something in my pocket, and it's a bug. I'm going to throw it away. I don't know why it's in there. Anyway, I had the windows down when I was driving, so maybe there was a fly that landed randomly in my pocket. Anyway, besides that and some questionable ethics about driving, they made a game called Half-Life. They went on and created some stuff after that. But let's take a look back at the franchise. Now, before we get into the first game, we're going to do Half-Life 1 and then 2 and, of course, the preceding episodes, as well as some other source engine talk, I should say, of other experiences. And then we'll end with, is there Half-Life 3 or not? And whatever Valve is cooking up is just such a Steam machine and, well, the such. So let's get into it. So, guys, from your high-level thoughts, David, I'm going to pass it to you. What is your experience with the franchise of Half-Life? And don't say too much because we're going to get into one here. But what's your high-level thoughts of the franchise, a little history behind the scenes of it, and why do you like or love the Freeman?
So, let's see. So my history with Half-Life actually starts with Half-Life 2. I had never even really heard of it prior to high school, and I ended up buying an Xbox 360 as a teenager, and the first game I bought was Halo 2, and one of the games I bought after that, I think just because I happened to see it on sale at a GameStop or something, was Half-Life 2. I heard all these things about it, that it was, a supposed masterpiece, and I had an opportunity to play it for myself, so I took it, and I basically, it was love at first sight.
Oh.
The moment I plugged it in, saw that, put the disc in, and saw the opening with the G-Man, I was smitten by the Half-Life bug.
Ooh.
And so yeah, my appreciation for the franchise has remained constant. Although I haven't played every single game, I think I've played a little bit of the OG Half-Life, but I certainly haven't finished it by any stretch of the imagination. And I played little bits of various Half-Life fan games and mods, but despite not being like engrossing myself in every aspect of the franchise, I have a lot of respect for it. It accomplished a lot in the gaming sphere, and Half-Life 2 is still one of my favorite games to this day.
Ditto is what I have to say to that. Let's get your high-level thoughts, Jacob, on Half-Life as a franchise, your history, your start with it, and how did it approach the life of Mr. Toss here?
Well, in middle school, I found a little game called Gary's Mod,
Oh, yeah.
which after just a few weeks of probably playing that, I think my dad walked into the room and saw Combine officers fighting Kermit the Frog or something and had to speak up that there were Combine officers on screen. And it led to a large conversation between me and my dad about Half-Life 2. And eventually, within the next few days, I had started playing the first Half-Life just because he had piqued my interest so much with how much he cared about it. And I've played through the entirety of the first Half-Life game and only part of the second one, but something that we've always held as a baseline in my household between me and my dad talking about video games has always been the Half-Life series of how does it compare? Where does the lineage come from? And seeing what the implements of the great grandfather of like 95% of FPS games really influenced on something.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's a unique, like, you started with Gary's Mod, and then your dad's like, "Hey, you know what? There's something else behind this." And then you had that conversation with. That's pretty cool. I like that. It's interesting you bring up like the lineage because I sent you guys the Act Man video of Half-Life. Like, why is it a masterpiece? And the
Yeah,
intro is just kind of funny.
he has a large portion about like this game
Yeah.
led to this, and you can trace everything back. And I was like struck by that because that's something I've talked to a whole bunch of people about of just like there is a timeline. Gaming is an evolution. So
an iteration and evolution
yeah,
at the same time. Yeah, it's cool because well, yeah, I think let's look at the example he used. Well, actually, I'll bring up my own. So you got Titanfall 2, or let's say Apex Legends.
yeah.
So Apex Legends comes out, drops out of nowhere to kind of be this battle royale, first-person battle royale after Fortnite and preceding that, or prior to that, PUBG. So you have this kind of battle royale first-person shooter that just so happens to be using the Source engine, a very heavily modified version of it. And so let's trace that back. So Apex Legends was a re-evolution of Titanfall. We had Titanfall 2 in 2016, and that had a great single-player campaign.
Oh yeah, and
Man.
that's another one I'd put on the masterpiece shelf.
Oh, dude.
At least as far as the single player is concerned.
Yeah. David, have you played any of Titanfall 2?
No, I didn't. I played the first one.
Oh, man.
Now
That's
the second one.
That's a game right there, David. Anyway, you put it on your list. It's a must play. And it's not too long. It's about, I think the campaign's like 5 to 6 hours, maybe even shorter at that times.
We're going on a little on a tangent here.
Yeah, we're on a little tangent, but
Titanfall 2 is one of those games where like the art direction was such a huge part of it. Like it's a fully 3D modern game and there's still painted backgrounds in a lot of scenes of just
really?
how, yeah, just
What?
extremely detailed.
Yeah, I never even noticed that. That's so
and
cool.
that's kind of the level of effort they put into everything.
Yeah. And with
Anyways.
as we're recording, like the recent passing a couple months ago, Vince Zampella, who was the founder of a lot of the modern shooters we know today, so Titanfall, Half-Life, and the newest Battlefield. You know, with his passing, it's like, man, that guy had a huge impact on the industry. But hey, that's tangent on tangent. Rest in peace, Mr. Vince. But yeah, you have Titanfall, you have Apex Legends. That one goes back to Titanfall 2, and then Titanfall. That has the same engine as Half-Life 2. You go back because speaking of Vince Zampella, when they founded Respawn, they needed an engine, and through connections and I believe I have the Game Informers in the back in my room where they explain like the process of getting the Source engine from Valve and heavily modifying it for a giant mech fighting shooting
Something
game.
totally different.
Yeah. So it's like they use the Source engine. The Source engine was in Gary's mod and Half-Life 2. And then that kind of led back to the first Half-Life as well. And you can also take a game like Valorant, was inspired by something like CSGO. And then CSGO was, of course, a mod for Half-Life 2 and so on and so forth. Or the Source, it was in the Source engine. That was in Half-Life 2. And then before that was Half-Life 1, which Counter-Strike 1 was a mod of Half-Life 1, which was a game made in the Quake engine from Quake. And then, of course, you go back further to Doom and the such of id. But it's really, really interesting to see like the impact of this franchise and the game and Valve in general. I mean, you could trace it back to the granddaddy, which is Doom, and Wolfenstein 3D, of course. Some other titles that were inspired by that, like the side-scrolling Wolfenstein games. But it started with Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, which is probably the great granddaddy of all shooters.
Yeah.
And then you got the granddaddy, which is Half-Life. So let's dive into Half-Life 1. Well, before we do that, let me get into my personal experience here. So Half-Life, let's see, where do I want to start with this? I have a whole thing written here, but I'll just go, we'll just wing it here. So I remember me and my sister got a 360 and we were playing stuff like Minecraft and stuff. And she got Portal 2. I think Portal 2 day one. So she got that and she was playing it. We're all like, man, this is really cool. This is awesome. And I think they played like Portal 1 on a friend's computer. And so they're playing through Portal 2, and then I play through it as well. But I'm watching them play through this, and they found out that there's a secret achievement you can get where you find the ship called the Borealis. And they're able to find it through a hallway that's blocked by a box, but you get around the box with the portal gun, and you walk through a doorway, and boom, you just see a giant room that could encase Noah's Ark, but it has the ship called the Borealis. And I'm like, what is that? What does the Borealis mean? And then basically, at the time, we had pretty decent internet at the time. Like, we're talking 3 megabit down, baby. Like, we're rocking it, man. Watching YouTube videos in 360p, downloading them in 480p so we can get a better quality, you know?
Okay.
It's out in the boonies. We're in the countryside. It was rough out here, guys. I think that was like $100 a month for 3 megabit down and
Quality
5
stuff.
up. Quality stuff, guys. You can at least watch YouTube. But anyway, through some Googling and some discovery, I found out it's in the Portal shares the same universe with Half-Life. I was like, oh, this is interesting. What is Half-Life? So then by the time I got my own computer, I purchased the whole Valve Complete pack on Steam. I think it was like $11 or $13 for all the games, all the mods, that kind of thing. Half-Life Source, Counter-Strike 1, and the OG Half-Life. And so I'm like, let me install it. Let me play it and see what we got. And I booted it up, and we'll get into it in here with Half-Life 1, but I cannot emphasize enough how well that game, it's old, but the atmosphere, right as you boot it up, as you hit, new game, and you're on the monorail, and you're going through, and the narrator is so creepy, and you see all this stuff happening, and the radiation, and the mech robot that's picking up the thing and moving it over there, as well as just the security guard that you see as Barney later on. Barney, the security guard, who's like just knocking on a door. And it just sets the mood so well. The music, the narration. And then I found out, oh, this isn't a cutscene. I can move. And I'm moving around and I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, this is really neat. And then like you get to the point where the resonance cascade is what they call it, happens. And you push the diamond into the thingy. And boom, screen goes black, explosions happen, and the game starts. So boys, Half-Life 1. David, you said you don't have a lot of experience with it, but you have played some of it. Let's
I've
start
played
over.
some of
What
it.
do you remember when you were playing it? Like, what stood out to you, and what did you particularly like about it?
To me, Half-Life 1, although it's I have a ton of respect for it. My experience with actually playing it was more like, man, this game has not aged very well.
Yep. It's not a looker.
But Yeah, what I will say is that despite um not enjoying my experience playing it very much just because of how poorly it's aged, I will say you're very correct about the just like how well it kind of sets the scene for you. Um, it holds up very well, even though the graphics themselves are dated. Just the general way it's framed, how it sets everything up, how it kicks the story off. Revolutionary for its time, and just a good example of great storytelling in a game.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think for me, I think it's definitely outdated. It looks old. It looks, it looks way better than the original Quake, obviously. And it's funny because this came out after Quake 2, but it's using the Quake 1 engine. And I think it's really cool the ability the looking back at like the documentaries they've made now about it with I believe the 25th anniversary of the game a couple years ago. It's cool to see the evolution of that engine. But even though it's a cool evolution, it's neat. Today's standards, it looks old.
Yeah.
It's not well.
They did a lot with what they had.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
and even using what they had, they still did amazing work of putting you in the story, and it to almost an unprecedented level at the time for first-person shooters. When you're comparing it to things like Doom, where you're just in hell. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Or like even Duke Nukem or something like that. Like it's a huge step forward in shooters in general compared to everything else around it at the time.
Yeah, it's like going from watching a kids show to watching Breaking Bad. There's so many different layers of the way they put up the setting and the way they show you everything.
Yeah, comparing let's say Zaboomafoo to The Walking Dead is like quite the jump, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you look at other titles around the time, I don't have any of the top of my head, but you're talking 1998, even stuff like in 2004 with the original Far Cry, that's still like I would compare the original Far Cry in 2004 to Half-Life in 98. Like it was that far ahead of its time, I think, in terms of
Seriously.
graphics and well, maybe not graphics, but I'd say like the mechanics, the sequences, the scripted stuff, even the NPCs that are just walking around and whatnot. But it's
the mythical Half-Life smelling AI.
Smelling AI. What do you mean?
I don't think it's real, but I've always heard people talking about how the AI in Half-Life can like smell things. I'm putting up air quotes. I don't know.
How would that work?
It's like the supposed smelling engine where it's like based on a radius from an object. They'll have different voice lines.
Interesting.
And it's like, I believe it's not real, but there's a bunch of voice lines from like Barney who will be like, oh, it smells terrible in here. Or a scientist will say something like, phew, what's that horrible stench? And
interesting.
It's the smelling AI is the joke.
There's a YouTube video here. I can't listen to it now, but it's called The Sense of Smell AI, and it's talking about different like sequences with NPCs, kind of like what you're describing. And they comment on what's in front of them. Like there's a thing of a one of the police officers is in front of like a dead headcrab or whatever. And he says like, hey, that smells pretty good or something like that. And it's like, wait, what? And then I go to like Google Gemini here and it says, just from the AI guys, so take it with a grain of salt. The smelling AI in the original 98 Half-Life is a real, documented, and ingenious, if simple mechanic, not just a myth.
Okay, so it's not made up.
Guys. I don't know. Maybe it's pulling from some urban legend that is telling the internet.
Maybe Gemini is trying to support its other AIs.
My goodness.
As a scientist, that reminds me of a thing from the YouTuber Chris Reagan, where he, in the Jimmy Neutron, he made a fake comment on the internet that said, hey, you guys remember Full Metal Sheen? which was a spin-off of Jimmy Neutron. Like, there's the world, I guess, of Sheen or whatever that they did. But he said, "Do you guys remember Full Metal Sheen? It was like a military like series with Sheen, the character Sheen from Jimmy Neutron.
Real.
And yeah, it's not real at all, but people thought it was real. And there was like forum posts and Reddit posts about it. And then he just kept saying it was real. And and the funniest thing about it is that when you Googled it, literally Google would come up and it would say it's a real show.
Okay.
And like somebody made a Wikipedia article about it.
Possible
it's like, what?
This smelling AI has gone so far out of control. People think it's real. Maybe we'll have to email Gabe after the podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, for about, I think he said for about a month or two, it was like for like people, he's like, "Oh yeah, Full Metal Sheen, Google it." And then they would Google it like in front of him and they're like, "Oh wow, that was real. Interesting."
Goodness gracious.
So anyway, yeah, the AI is cool. I love the bit where you walk into that room and that tentacle scene. And the tentacle bursts through the window and the like observation deck, and the scientist flies back, hits the wall, lands, and then it grabs him and pulls him to the pit or whatever. It's so dope.
Blast Pit is the name of that level.
Yeah.
It's got to be my least favorite.
Dude, it's like, and you didn't even know what to do. Like, you're like, what do I, because I threw grenades at it and it kept going down. I'm like, yeah, but then it would go back up. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on? And then like, I run out of grenades. I'm like, whoa. So I backtrack for like an hour and come back. It's like, yeah, there's some stuff. It's not a perfect game, but it does some really impressive stuff. What are some of the highlights for you guys? For me, like there's that, and then another one. I think I have it written here, but the part where the assassins, like you have to fight the assassins. I don't know if you've gotten that far, David, or you know what I'm talking about.
I've seen enough of the game from just watching playthroughs of it, because I kind of like played a little bit of it and then I'm like, I don't really want to I don't want to taint my opinion of this game by actually playing it, because I'm not having a good time. Mm-hmm. I don't really like old janky shooters that much. But I've watched playthroughs of the game, and so I know what you're talking about. The invisible soldier.
Yeah, there's a moment where after you get done with a huge firefight in I believe in a warehouse, after you got to the surface, there's a bunch of ninjas, is how I explain it. Just a bunch of assassins, like female assassins, that are flipping around and doing everything, like trying to kill you. They have darts. They're throwing stars at you and stuff.
They really kind of come out of nowhere.
They come out of nowhere, and they're unlike anything you've experienced up to that point.
A lot of other things are very well scripted. Like you'll see the soldiers earlier in the game before you have to fight them, and you'll see certain monsters before, but they just show up.
Yeah, they're there. I was watching the documentary. Apparently, it was one guy who got that whole sequence done within like a week. And then they shipped the game. It's like,
it's just right before.
Yeah, because
really
apparently in between that was just nothing. It was you get through the warehouse and then they knock you out and then they drag you off, like for the cutscene. But they added the sequence in. So he built the warehouse part of it. He scripted the AI. That's kind of like why they come out of nowhere and they feel out of place, because it was added in like at the last minute.
Because it is.
It is. But it was a dope ass fight, man. Like they're flipping everywhere. They are hurting you a lot. I died several times trying to fight them my first playthrough and subsequent playthroughs after that. Like they are hard, but it was such a cool highlight because again, there's nothing else like it in the game, and they test your finesse. Like the soldiers are already there doing the same thing, but these guys are like athletic and you have to like sprint, crouch, jump, get out of the way. The best thing to use is the crossbow with them because it's insta-kill for them. But yeah, there's so many times where I'm like, dude, what the heck? And they like just kill you over and over. So there's something like that. Let me read a little bit of the order of the game before we continue. So one of the things that stands out to me about Half-Life 1 is the order of the levels. You start in the tram ride, then the test that brings those unforeseen consequences. And then you explore the office complex, the testing facilities, including the blast pit and the monorail. God, I do not like that level. Then some other, because right after blast pit is the tram, or like the monorail, where you have to like click up on the arrow keys and then go forward and then slow down, then stop. And it's like
Another aspect of it's being its janky old game self.
Yep, and
in
it's
the other
like,
way.
and people have tried so much to like speedrunners have figured it out, but back in the day, people would like leave the rail there, but you need it to get past certain sections. So you'd be walking alongside on the track, and then you just drop through the map because it wasn't made for you to walk on it, but for the rail to go. So anyway, you have the monorail. Then there's some other places until you explore, and then surface tension breaks. And the crap hits the fan once the alien invasion starts and they clash with the military cleanup, which is just eradicate everybody and all witnesses of the complex, Black Mesa itself. Then we get the whole flow of this is really interesting. You get to like, one of my favorite bits is, it's chapter 9. You have apprehension, which is then the assassins come out. And then you defeat them, you get knocked out. The soldiers then drag you away and they're talking, hey, this is the guy. We finally caught him. This is crazy. We just knocked him out. And then they're like, yeah, we're supposed to report the body. And then the guy's like, what body? And then they both like chuckle. And then it goes to black. And then you wake up in a trash compactor and have to escape.
Yeah. Classic Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, it's so dope. And then, let's see, what's after that? You eventually get... I think after that is, I want to say questionable ethics, where you're exploring the facility of them testing all the aliens, and that's where you meet the giant, like, brute alien guys.
Yeah.
And then there's more stuff where you have to fight the military, and then these brute guys clash with them. You then launch a rocket. You then find scientists. You then get to Zen. And then you fight a pregnant-looking alien cow. And then a giant human-looking toddler with a big head, like Sheen himself.
Yeah.
And then... yeah, and then G-Man, you kill him. G-Man offers you a job, and then Half-Life 1's over. Like, that's the game. So it's like, I'll always remember playing the rocket bit because it really put your test with the military. And then I think around that area, I think it's before that, you have that whole sequence on the surface where you're fighting the military and the aliens, you're watching them kill each other. And you have the rocket launcher, they have a tank, and you got to escape from the tank. There's also that whole sequence underground where you're escaping from a giant alien, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a giant alien.
Yeah.
And he's chasing you through tunnels. And it's part of the monorail. I think it's at the end of
I'm trying
monorail.
to remember. I can't remember the name of the section or the alien. But it's a very restricted area.
Yeah, it's very
It's a much larger alien than you've fought in a couple other places. And you have to go turn on the power or get a key card or something to go to the next area.
Yeah, and you also can kill this guy.
Yes.
Yeah, with like a flame, you trap him in a room, you turn on the flamethrowers or whatever, and he dies or something like that. And it's like, dude, I remember playing that and I was already creeped out from everything before that. Because from the Headcrab. Dude, the whole Headcrab stuff is so creepy and so xenomorph
in the vents.
Dude, like the face huggers, but head huggers. Ugh.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing? Like, I haven't looked at the lore of once they get on your head, but I'm guessing they connect to your brain and they take you over or something.
Yeah, it's got to be some sort of parasite thing.
Yeah.
3 little fun facts.
Mm-hmm.
First fun fact: when you get stuck in the trash compactor, part of your escape of the trash compactor is you get up on top of each of the crushing sides of it, and they're actually just like the tram on the tram level. You can control them. Like they have controls, and you can stop and reverse them.
Really?
Yeah. They're just trains that are reshaped and retextured.
Oh, wow. Dang.
Second fun little fact is in that, the level where you have to face the tank, a benefit of having the rocket launcher is that the tank launches rockets. It doesn't have a unique projectile or anything. And you can direct the rockets with the laser pointer from Freeman's rocket launcher.
Really?
These are all things that I've learned from just replaying the game of just like, you see weird things, you push E on something you didn't expect.
Oh, interesting. What's your number 3?
Oh, it's evaded me.
It'll come back to you.
Yeah.
We'll get
if those 2 came to me, the third one will come back as well.
Yeah. Yeah, just the flow of things. I think I think when you look at it objectively, I think the first game kind of drags a bit, like especially on the monorail, especially on just some of the other areas, especially in surface tension where you're fighting everybody and you're trying to do the puzzles. I think Valve does a really good job of the puzzle solving aspect in the game and what you have to do to proceed. But man, there are some times, especially with it being an old game, where you're kind of like, what do I do here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I was able
Mhm.
to figure out with no guides, but it took a while. And you're
Yeah.
like,
It's a lot of backtracking, a lot of trying to figure things out your own way. And they don't give you many tools to figure it out your own way.
no, just a crowbar.
That actually reminded me of what the third thing was.
Oh, yeah.
When you're in the level where you're having to face the large monster that you have to trap in the like flamethrower room, there's a way to skip that room. I was watching a speedrun one time, and part of the way you have to exit that room is through a wall of concrete barriers that gets destroyed later. But you can place the I forget what they're called, but just the mines, the trip mines.
Oh, yeah, the trip mines.
You can use them as stepping stones to get over that wall. Like you really don't have many tools, and it's the way the older game is. There's a lot of jank things that you can do to get through it.
This is also
when you're stuck with an older game with some tougher situations like that, you make do.
yeah, you make with what you got. And it's funny because even though this is a PC game in quotes, this is 98. This is before any online update stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I think, well, that was with like in Japan with the Super Nintendo. But yeah, you could do like, that was a rare example of getting online updates and stuff like that with like Nintendo's SuperNet or whatever they called it. But with this was like, you're on your own. You got the disc and that's it. Maybe some people made some, people make mods obviously, so you can do that and patches, but that's about it. So what's on the disc is what's on the disc. So
if players figured out another way, it's not like Valve could do anything about it.
yeah. Or if you buy the Game of the Year edition, they probably patch some stuff in there. So
yeah.
But speaking of that, like, I don't know if you guys have any experience. I don't have any experience with this, but like Counter-Strike 1, the original Team Fortress, stuff like that. Like, do you have any experience with like the Half-Life 1 mods at all? I'll get into some of the my mods. I have one Half-Life mod later on, but that's about it. But I was going to save it for that. Do you guys have any experience with CS or TF2 or TF1 or something like that? Or nay?
No, I
I've seen
mean,
gameplay of it.
yeah, I knew it existed back in the day, but being that back in the day I was pretty much a console gamer only, like I just never did any of that. Like the only reason I ever played Half-Life 2 back when I was younger is because they ported it to the Xbox.
Yeah. Wait, did you play the OG version or did you play it on 360? It was part of the orange box.
Well, I bought the orange box when it came out, but I played Half-Life 2 before the orange box came out.
Oh.
So I bought the OG Xbox version and played it on my 360.
Ooh.
That's cool.
We'll get to that too, because I played a little bit of that version. How about you, Jacob? TF1 Counter-Strike?
Just a little bit of not Team Fortress 1. Well, I swear it's in my Steam library. It's one that's never been touched.
I feel like that's with everybody though. It's in your Steam library, but you don't know how it got there.
Yeah, but as far as original CS, a decent amount with some friends in middle school of just like the community's still alive. What's going on in these servers and seeing weird things for sure.
Yeah. I was actually just playing some Half-Life 1 multiplayer before I got in here. And yeah, man, it's just, it's Half-Life 1 deathmatch and people are killing each other and they're called some very obscene names, know, and but man, it's just chaos. You're just fighting and shooting and exploding and jibs and everything.
I think my only other experience would be there's a mod for the original Half-Life, Sven Co-op.
Yeah, Sven Co-op. Yeah,
I believe it's original Half-Life. It's not CS.
Yeah, it's OG.
I mean, same difference, but I've played a decent amount of that one. It's just a a set of party game style games for online multiplayer or LAN multiplayer for Half-Life, and a decent number of them are fun. Like you'd never expect to do a like card-based sort of feeling team deathmatch where you pick which monsters are on your side and what's on your opponent's side, or even a tower defense, like things that you wouldn't expect to make sense in Half-Life that could be really fun when you make it online.
And what's so cool about that specifically is I remember when it came out on Steam, like as an official Steam item, basically, like it's free to play.
Yeah,
Like if you have a Steam
it's
account,
its own
you can,
thing. You can just download it.
Download it. It's the whole campaign of Half-Life co-op. I don't know if you can play it single player. I think that's possible, but I don't know for sure. I haven't tried
See
that
why
out.
not? If you just host your own server.
Yeah, you could host your own server. I played a little bit of the co-op with a buddy of mine, and then I think it was we made it public server, so just random people started flowing in. And it was like on a Tuesday night, and we had like 6 people playing through like
I
the
didn't
first
even
3
know
chapters.
you could do just like the actual game in it. I thought it
Oh,
was
really?
just its own separate party games and
No,
stuff.
well, I didn't even, well, it's funny. We kind of like had the opposite experience. Like, I didn't know they had party games. I didn't know that. And but we just played the campaign, but you played the party games, not
Yeah,
the campaign.
opposite experiences.
So we're covering all the bases here. But yeah, it's free. And that's also another thing about all the games we're talking about here is they're so cheap, especially when they're on sale. Like even Half-Life 1 at $10, I think it's worth it personally for the multiplayer, but again, if it's just like a time capsule piece, you could go and play Black Mesa instead, which on sale is $5 or $4 or something like that,
and
or even
from
on sale.
A modern gamer's perspective is so much more accessible and comfortable and fun.
We'll
honestly,
get to that too after Half-Life 2, I think. But yeah, man, like Half-Life 1, I gotta give it credit where it's due. Like I didn't play this until I was 18, and I think personally it held up for me when I played it. And again, I can't say enough of the atmosphere. It is just thick and it delivers so much, and it was super impressive given that the game was released in 98.
Yeah.
And then that goes for the same for its sequel, which released in 04, 6 years later. Which, if you guys don't mind, let's get into Half-Life 2. All right. So Half-Life 2 released in 04. Was originally going to be released, I believe, September of 03. They even had I think ATI even had a launch party on Alcatraz Island that year. And
Really?
they still had the launch party, like even though it was delayed. Like,
Weird.
indefinitely.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had a launch party on Alcatraz because the game was also bundled in with AMD or ATI, excuse me, graphics cards. And ATI got bought out by AMD or evolved into AMD later. But or I could be totally wrong. I don't know the history. I know ATI is now AMD.
Yeah.
That's what we know now.
Sounds pretty accurate to me.
Yeah. So anyway, so they had that launch party September whatever in 03, and the game got delayed. And then because there was a demo released on it was a hacker in Germany, I believe, who was infiltrating Valve's network, and he was able to get access to it and leaked the full beta build of Half-Life 2.
Oh,
in
wow.
2003, I believe. And eventually, I think Valve worked with the FBI and set up a honeypot and got the guy, but the game and damage was done. And everybody got to play, or a few of those got to play, the beta version of Half-Life 2. And it's very, very much the concept of what we know of it today is there. Like instead, like this whole train sequence of you coming into the station and following the people, it's very streamlined. It's very short, and then you meet Barney, and it's different dialogue. But the bones are there. It just needs a lot of polish, and they eventually did do a lot of polish of that for a whole year and released November of 04. You guys want to know what else released in 2004?
Of course.
So, of course, we got World of Warcraft, obviously. So that changed the whole scene with online games.
Huge one.
MMOs and the such, but you also had a bunch of shooters. You had Metroid Prime 2 Echoes release. You had Halo 2, the big boy release. You had Metal Gear Solid 3, which isn't really a shooter, but technically, I guess you could say.
Still very influential.
It's a third-person shooter.
Yeah, they're a super influential game, like you guys are saying. And then the other one released in 04. Gosh dang, there was another one that was released. Oh, Doom 3 was released in
yeah.
2004. And it's like, holy crap. I also believe '04 was one of the Chronicles of Riddick games, if I could be wrong about that. But there was a lot of shooters in '04, a lot of great stuff in '04. A great year for video games. And then Half-Life 2 is in November. And it's
Just
head
coming in at the end there.
yeah, and it's like above nearly everything, I would say, when you look at what those games were at the time and are today. And then Half-Life 2. I think Halo 2 is the only one I would put next to it. The other games are great. I'm not familiar with Metal Gear Solid myself, but what I know of those titles and their impact on the industry, I think you have Halo 2 and Half-Life 2 in terms of shooters. And that was like game changer.
And we even mentioned Doom in that list of the 2004 games. Doom 3 was on that list,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it's a good game.
Well,
I mean,
compared
it
to the
depends on
rest
who
of the
you're talking
games
to.
in the series, I don't think it held up. But it's kind of
It's
kind
a
of goes
graphic
back.
showcase for sure.
It's
Got
I
weird
think that
looking
was a
faces.
specific case of a game that helped develop the Half-Life series, taking aspects of trying to be more storytelling and losing what made it good in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's a good argument for that. The whole Doom franchise in general. And then we got the reboot in 2016.
Yeah. Anyways,
well, Jacob, let's hand it over to you. Half-Life 2. You started with Gary's mod, but have you played? You said you played through some of 2.
I've played
What
through
have you played?
some, maybe the first few hours. I remember getting the airboat and the Jeep.
Okay. So you got about 4 to 5 hours in, I think. Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a good while since I've sat down and put time into it.
Did you get to Ravenholm? Oh wait, is the
Ravenholm is when
cart is after Ravenholm?
Yeah, Ravenholm is
so you
when
went
you
to
get
Ravenholm.
the gravity gun and
Yeah.
there's all the headcrab zombies there, and you're cutting them up with saw blades and stuff, right?
Girl.
Okay, then yes, I've played through
You got
that
the ring.
part.
Okay, hey, that's good. That's good enough, I'd say. But you got to finish it at some point. But you will.
Yeah, well,
But-
it'll
but-
come back around one day.
Yeah. But what are your thoughts?
I think Half-Life 2 was always, starting from Gary's mod, it put all the pieces together for me, because Gary's mod, you open the spawn menu to spawn in all the creatures and items and things, and it's just a list of things from Half-Life that are not really assorted in any particular way. And seeing them in actual Half-Life 2, put in all those places they're supposed to be, just made all of the things click together in my mind. And I think it was a real fun game. Like, the parts that I played were put together intelligently. It is a physics sandbox, and they play to that pretty well. And at the time that I was playing it, story was never my biggest concern. It was, is it fun? It's hard to it's hard for a game to make me care about it if gameplay isn't the number one thing that I care about. And it was doing pretty well. I liked it, and it was fun for the amount that I played.
Yeah. I think there's some sequences later, such as Nova Prospect, after the go-kart section, where you're going into a prison and you get to not operate, but get some help with some of the alien forces. And that's all I'll leave it. You might know what I'm talking about, but it's a really cool section once you get through it, and then once you're playing it, and then it just, again, the flow of the game kind of goes through this whole thing. David, let's get some of you in here. You played it on 360. You bought the orange box. What are your thoughts of Half-Life 2? And if you want, you can get into the episodes if you want too.
Yeah, Half-Life 2 was one of those like love at first sight games for me. Like I said, I bought the OG Xbox port of it.
Sorry.
I'm trying to remember. It was one of the first games I bought for the after I got the 360. I may have actually been one of the games that I got before I even got any actual 360 games.
That's dope.
Yeah, because I got the 360 like I want to say like a few years after it came out. I was like, I can't remember if I turned 18 yet, but I was definitely like an older teenager. Um, and yeah, so I got the 360 because I wanted to play Halo.
Mm-hmm.
That was that was what I wanted to play. But I was more interested in Halo 2. So before getting any 360 games, I got Halo 2. I played the crap out of that. And then just because of that, I kind of like stayed on the OG Xbox kick for a little while. I got one of the first games I got was Lego Star Wars 2, and then
Oh, yeah.
Half-Life 2, the OG Xbox port was in there as well. And yeah, it was just like one of those things where it's like as soon as I'd always heard of the Half-Life franchise, but had never played any of the games before then. And yeah, just from the moment I saw like just the opening of the game, I was like, whoa, this is like this is its own type of game, basically. Like I'd never seen anything like that before. And yeah, there's Half-Life 2 is a lot better in regards to, how well it's held up than Half-Life 1, but there's still a few spots where it's like it shows its age. But despite that, usually it's stuff like that where it's like I have to like fight the game
Yeah.
because it's old and janky
Yeah.
is those are the parts where I start losing interest in the game. Um and I enjoyed Half-Life 2's just like everything about it so much that I actually persevered through those the janky parts, which is not very characteristic of me. I tend to start a lot of games and then just leave them unfinished when I get to a part I don't like.
I was gonna say that's like your experience with Half-Life 1 is you didn't want to taint your feeling of it because it wasn't super fun at the time.
Yeah.
But Half-Life 2 pushed past that barrier and it was good enough to keep you going.
Yeah. Yeah. Half-Life 2 is just one of my favorite games of all time. It's like the storytelling, the way it presents the narrative is kind of like an incremental evolution of the way they did Half-Life 1, but like just essentially the story is told so well. It's almost like watching an action movie through the eyes of the main character, basically. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I almost like imagine like a film like The Fugitive,
Mm-hmm.
where Harrison Ford is on the run for a crime he didn't commit, and you have all these um tense, high energy action scenes happening, and you just imagine that sort of setting, that sort of thing, but like you're seeing through Harrison Ford's eyes as it's happening. And it's very well done, and it's something that like honestly, even today, not a lot of games have really captured that feeling very well.
Yeah, because there's definitely a lot of Call of Duty set piece going on in the majority of modern games of like it feels so set up. And Half-Life definitely holds the aspect of it feels like you're putting yourself there. And it does make a huge difference. It gives you feelings that you don't get from Call of Duty move to this objective. And I think you're right. I think that's a big aspect of why it's fun, why it's good.
One thing I like about it is I just love linear games in general. Yeah, if you want. And then because I like shorter experiences in general, but with Half-Life 2, it goes and goes and goes and goes. And sometimes for me in a first person shooter, if it's that long, sometimes it can kind of lose its momentum. But I think honestly, Half-Life 2 is one of those kind of like same thing with Titanfall 2, even though it's a shorter game. Half-Life 2 keeps that momentum, keeps that flow. And when I first booted it up, it was such a massive step forward. My mouth was like, "Whoa, this is cool, man!" Like, as I enter City 17, and then the characters have really fun, like, are really quirky and
Yeah.
just fun personalities. The characters, I gotta say, you don't get a lot of them in Half-Life 1, but Half-Life 2 specifically with Alex and Eli and Kleiner and Barney, and even like even some of the like NPCs you get, like the soldiers that follow you, they feel like real people. Like they don't feel like some kind of committee-led or written character, like, oh, this was playtest and this was good. No, like these feel like real people that you would talk to. In fact, it's funny, there was so when they did the character faces for the game, they did 3D, they like scanned them and everything or took pictures.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The rigging and the modeling and the animation of the faces is fantastic. The G-Man especially, Alex as well. There's a lot of work put into it. But the face of Eli Vance, Alex's dad, is based on a homeless man from Seattle, Washington. And there's pictures of him out there where you look at him and that's Eli Vance. That's Alex's dad. And Valve just took that and used it for that character. Now, I believe they did give him a commission for it and paid him. But it's funny, like you'll see like behind the scenes of this game and you see like pictures of this homeless dude. It's Eli Vance. It's totally him.
That's funny.
And just the face work in general in the game is leaps and bounds ahead of the time, even compared to Halo 2, which amazing game, great campaign, amazing multiplayer. Oh my god. But the faces are kind of stinky.
Yeah, the Halo 2
I'm
potato faces.
I'm thinking of Sergeant Johnson, man. That as really great as his lines are. God, that's only a face a mother could love.
Could really have used some nice stencil shadows.
Yeah. But yeah, you have these characters, and the whole thing of Barney and Kleiner talking and bickering in the opening is really entertaining. Barney being like, "About that beer I owed you," and you're like, "Who is this? Who is this guy? I don't know who he is." And then if you played like the expansion Blue Shift, which we didn't even talk about, but the 2 expansions for Half-Life 1 made by Gearbox, who now do the Borderlands games.
I didn't know it wasn't by actual Valve.
Yeah, so there's a whole story. I'll get into it after this, but I'll just get into it now. So Half-Life had 2 expansions, Opposing Force, which you play as a Combine soldier, or the military soldier, and then you have Barney in the second one, Blue Shift, and he's the security officer. But Sierra Entertainment, which published Half-Life for Valve, they owned the rights for Half-Life at the time. So they, what's it called? They contracted Gearbox to make Opposing Force, and they had very little communication with Valve, but they got enough to get the story done. I think Mike Laidlaw, who did the story for Half-Life 1 and 2, did the story for those as well. And so they're all interconnected. We don't see Aiden Walker, the character in Opposing Force after that, but we do see Barney, which is in Half-Life 2. Valve eventually did get the rights back from Sierra. It was not a huge one, but it was a legal battle. And it turns out Sierra had some, let's see, questionable ethics, as we keep going back to that word. And Valve ended up winning in the end of the day. And now they own it all.
Yeah.
So you have that. And Barney's just a good character. I like him and Kleiner, and Alex, of course, is pretty great. There's the weird thing with Alex, though. Let's get this out of the way. There's a thing where they're like, all right, this chick kind of likes the Freeman. But sometimes it's a little awkward, especially with her face, where she's like, "Oh, it's so good to see you," and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, like, well, good to see you too, I guess. But like, just like meta level, like, I'm like, okay, whatever. But it's kind of weird. Like, she like likes you or whatever. But I think Freeman's supposed to be like in his 40s or something, and Alex is like 20 something. I think it's
Yeah.
weird personally, but I think
it is
Freeman's
kinda weird.
supposed to be in his 40s. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Man. But
I don't think
yeah,
age gap was a huge consideration
Yeah,
when they were
yeah,
writing the
yeah.
story.
yeah. But they treat it well, and it's not like a story about them falling in love or anything, but it's like, hey, like, let's get the mission done, let's do this. We're together. And she kills the Combine and everything. She's a great companion, like probably one of the top companions of video games, I would say. She's pretty
Oh,
great.
really?
I would say so. I haven't played every game, but out of all the companions I've had, she's pretty great. Anyway, so you got some good characters, you got fun shooting, you got the boat rides. You got the game, it goes on and we get Ravenholm. We drive around on a go-kart in the Nova Prospect. We start shooting more with rebels in a city. We find Alex again. We find the Judith lady who's with Dr. Breen. We get our weapons taken away near the end of the game. They're all eviscerated and evaporated, but we get a buffed gravity gun.
Yeah.
Speaking of gravity gun, let's talk about it. I think that what a cool idea to use this as a weapon to demonstrate the use of the physics in this game.
It really does feel like something out of a tech demo when you first use it, of like, it's not meant to be super polished, but it's meant to be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just meant to be like, oh, you can lift that dresser across from the room, but you can't lift that car. Okay, I guess that makes sense, but we'll roll with it. But you can move like, I don't know, other stuff, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's so dope. The way you can move stuff around, you like throw in toilets, like in Gary's mod, you throw toilets at people. You can there was a time where I threw a bench at a Combine soldier and it burst apart. And the guy like didn't die, but they glitched. So he was supposed to die, but he didn't. And then he goes up to me and he doesn't get shot at all. He just goes up to me, and once I touch him, I was like gonna crowbar him, hit him last. But before I even crowbar him, he's like, oh. And he just collapses and dies. David, what about you? The gravity gun. You played it on 360, so like, how was it? Did the
with
frame rate tank?
controls.
No.
Especially on the OG Xbox?
No. See, that's the thing is, the original Xbox port they did some like black magic.
Oh, bro.
And they like,
Yeah.
the optimization on that port is insanely good. Like the game runs really, really well. And that's the funny thing is from what I understand, the original PC version, unfortunate slip of the tongue there. The original PC version,
Continue on.
was not super well optimized, and so there was a lot of doubts about how feasible an Xbox port would be. And yeah, Valve took it very seriously and they optimized the crap out of it. Well, I don't know if it was Valve who actually did it, but whoever.
Yeah, Valve. I believe Valve did it. Yeah.
Whoever
double
did
check
it.
that though.
Whoever did it, they optimized the crap out of it, and yeah, it runs excellently. I don't remember having any problems with the frame rate or anything. The physics worked exactly as they were supposed to, and yeah, I love the gravity gun. Such a great concept for a game.
So yeah, Valve did do the port because they did it on the OG Xbox, and that was in 2005. So it came out in 2005, a year after the PC release, and then the 360 came out that same year. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, I played actually a little bit of the second of Half-Life 2 on the OG Xbox. I got a copy. I was going crazy during the pandemic, looking at eBay sales, and I'm like, I have money. I'm an adult. I want to buy some retro games. Me and like a good jillion other people. So like,
Yeah.
Prices were good. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get me some 3DS games.
Time to do it.
Yeah, time to do it. PS3, 360, let's do it. And including OG Xbox. And I bought a huge lot, and it had like a Dinotopia game, it had Wallace and Gromit game, and I'm like, oh, this is what I would have played as a child. And it had Half-Life, and I'm like, ooh, what do we got here? And so I got it and I played it. It's impressive what they were able to do on the OG Xbox, because I wrote it down in my notes here. The OG Xbox had a 800 megahertz Pentium 2.
Okay.
That, in a comparison, you had other more powerful processors that barely ran Half-Life, and those were running at, I believe, 1.5 gigahertz. And those were like the newer Pentium stuff. Or I think like Intel Core Quad wasn't out yet, I believe, but
Yeah, I don't think quite yet.
My first PC I got was like a really old computer, and it was like a Windows like XP computer. But the one after that I got still had an Intel Core 2 Duo, so I'm like, well, I guess it's right. I'm playing Half-Life 2 on an Intel Core 2 Duo. This is pretty cool. All right, 2 cores, let's rock it. I think I had 4 gigs of RAM, and I'm like, and Windows 7, and I'm like, let's do it, baby. Yeah. So it's crazy. I was playing a little bit of it, and it does get pretty bogged down when explosions are happening. Like, I think the frame rate gets down to like, I've seen Digital Foundry videos where it gets down to like the teens. The whole boat chase, you're running at 24 frames when the thing's chasing you. The beautiful cinematic 24 frames a second, you know? But other than that, like, it's so impressive to see it run on the OG Xbox. Like, I think I put like 3 hours into it, just playing from front to that point, and I was very smitten with how that game ran. And I was like, good job, Valve. I want to do a full playthrough on it eventually, but especially once you get the buffed gravity gun toward the end, and crazy. You could pick up people, Jacob. Kind of like in Gary's Mod. You could pick up people with the gravity gun, and you could toss them Combine soldiers everywhere. It's awesome.
Just all powerful.
I want to see how it runs on the OG Xbox, so that'd be awesome. Also, side tangent. I found out a way you can digitize Xbox One game, Xbox OG Xbox games by just replacing the hard drive with an SSD and installing some software. I think I know what a weekend project is going to be for me in the future. Exciting. Anyway, Half-Life 2, great game, really fun. I want to talk a little bit about the sound design though, because the sound of the guns in this game. Oh my God, boys. I was playing a little bit last night. I have a dinky little speakers and a dinky little subwoofer below my desk. But man, I hit left mouse click on that AR2. I think it's called the AR2, the plasma rifle gun you get.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it sounds like a flippin' punch to the gut. Like,
it's so thumpy.
It's like a robot punching another robot, and magic happens. It's like, excuse me, it's crazy. It's so cool. And like the sound of even the pistol. And also one thing I want to point out, the sound of switching to every gun is different. So you can tell without even, like, if you click 1 on the keyboard and you get the pistol, there's a different sound versus when you press like 7 and you get like the alien gun or like the submachine gun or the gravity gun. Like, you know when you get the gravity gun.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that. It's for every gun. And of course, they sound different as well. And they just sound so good. Oh my God. I could talk. It sounds so amazing. But you also have great voice acting as well, I would say, through the whole game. Dude, Ravenholm with the priest. Oh my God. What a memorable character. He, you know, and you know, you find out, you know, you see what happens to him, but oh my God. And the creepiness of Ravenholm. Let's talk about Ravenholm, man. That section is so creepy, eerie, a beautiful example of how you can use the gravity gun. In fact, there's an achievement on Steam and I believe Xbox where you can just get through Ravenholm with the gravity gun. There's an achievement for doing that. I accidentally switched to the shotgun near the end of it, so I didn't get the achievement.
Barely lost it.
Yeah, but it'd be kind of cool to go through and see what achievements that are on there. But dude, oh man, Ravenholm is so cool. Like, if you want to show people who haven't like experienced video games for a long time and want to know, like, hey, you know, you could plug in a PS5, you can boot up Ghost of Yotei or Death Stranding 2 and show them the graphical fidelity. That's cool. But if you want to see and show them what video games could do in 04 and something that was ahead of its time, like, again, I brought up the first Far Cry, which I love. I played through it on, I believe, GOG. And it's a great shooter. It's a good game. It's fun. But it looks like, pardon my French, it looks like ass. Not going to lie.
Yeah.
Half-Life 2 is leaps and bounds beyond it.
Oh, easily.
So much. And it's came out in the same year.
Despite the fact that Half-Life 2 definitely has shown its age in some aspects, but there's plenty of aspects of it that just like hold up so well. Like just the general visual style of the game, like you don't even really notice that the graphics aren't necessarily cutting edge just because the art style is done so well that it just the game just looks right.
Yeah.
It just looks good. It doesn't have to look cutting edge or ultra realistic. It just looks perfect. And then you have, of course, the faces. Like,
Oh man.
I mean, games have just barely gotten to the point where they're like up with Half-Life 2's faces.
Seriously.
It's like, I mean,
Even sorry to interrupt you. If you go and play Mass Effect 3 on the 360, you know what I'm talking about. Those faces are ugly. You have the dead eyes. They're like you got Shepard. They're like, I'm gonna do this, and the mouth is moving, and the eyes are like dead. You're like, what's going on here?
These are not people.
These are not people.
They're all aliens.
This was 2013 or 12 or whatever. It's like, and you got 04 with Half-Life 2. It's like,
and for a game that doesn't have any cutscenes, it's incredible how
Yeah.
cinematic it feels. Like you were off somewhere. But remember when we watched The Fugitive?
yeah.
Like, I mean, it's essentially like that movie, but with sci-fi, but you're seeing it through Harrison Ford's eyes.
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
cool.
And
it's
even
just,
the
there's
Fugitive-
really no game out there like that.
The Fugitive is like the perfect example as well, because there's a lot of shared like vibes between Half-Life and The Fugitive. I mean, it may have been a minute since I've seen that movie, but I just remember a scene where well, now we're talking about The Fugitive.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
I remember a scene where Harrison's in a sewer output tunnel or a drainage tunnel, and he's been running from somebody behind him, and he has to make the choice of whether to go with the guy who was chasing him or to leap into the water below. And it's like, I can totally see Freeman coming out of a tunnel and being chased by Combine and having to make that choice. And it's just a very very well paralleled image in my mind.
Let me look up real quick when the first Call of Duty came out. Like Call of Duty 1, which was a World War I or World War II type game. When did that come out? 2003, so it came out the year before this, but I look at the Call of Duty franchise, and a lot of them are basically, and again, just to preface this, I don't have a whole lot of experience with Call of Duty. I played like Advanced Warfare, the campaign, and that's all I have experience of Call of Duty, maybe a Warzone match or two, and that's about it. But and Advanced Warfare isn't like the best one, but I enjoyed my time with it. It's a fun action movie, and that's what the Call of Duty games are. They're not as good as Half-Life, obviously, but it's cool to get they're Hollywood blockbusters. They're a Michael Bay movie. That's what Call of Duty is.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know how to equate Half-Life 2 with a movie director or what have you. You guys probably have better ideas than I do. But it's interesting how you can still get kind of like that blockbuster feel in those kind of games in their single player campaigns. But in 04, you had it at such a high level, and you had it at a smart level as well. Like Half-Life 2 feels more of like not necessarily a Nolan movie, but I would equate it more to a Nolan movie than a Michael Bay movie, for example.
Oh, definitely.
And it has some of that, it's got some of that special feel, that personality, kind of like with the characters. It has that personality with the mix of the gameplay and the art design, like you're saying, direction, David. Art direction, excuse me. Where you kind of see this in other games as well, or bad examples, I should say, nowadays. You have stuff like High Guard that came out this year, 2026. A shooter that was forgotten within a little bit, but the art direction, a lot of people talked about that. And they said it's not that great. You have to be intentional about your creation in that. Excuse me. Now, there are people that are going to get in your way in game dev, and there's going to be producers, there's going to be people that try to iron things out, make it more appealing. But I think the cool thing about Half-Life is it's still very unique, even today, compared to what's around us. Especially in the shooter genre where it's all just multiplayer games.
Yeah.
And we can get into a little bit of Half-Life 2 Deathmatch and our experience with it, but it's so unique even today is basically what I'm getting at. And it's definitely worth, if you're listening to this and you haven't played Half-Life 2, You got to play Half-Life 2. I'd say go play Black Mesa, then Half-Life 2, and then go from there because they're worth experiencing. Even if you have the thought of your mind, well, there's not an ending. Screw it. Just play it, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not about the ending. It's about the journey.
exactly. Thank you, Jacob. Let's see. What else did I write down here? What are some of our favorite moments? We talked about Raven Home. I love it when the Combine Soldier in the beginning says, pick up that can. Pick up that can.
Yeah.
You pick it up. The whole Nova Prospect section with the bugs and them helping you is really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so dope. And dude, like the ending with the gravity gun is so amazing. Anyway, so we talked about Xbox port. Oh, random thing. Something I noticed while playing, I played last night a little bit of 2, and then I played Entropy, the mod we'll talk about later. But while I was playing, the turrets you face, like the turrets that you face in Half-Life 2 and you kind of throw grenades and get them out of the way or you pick them up, they're basically the beginning of the evolution, the beginning evolution of the turret of Portal.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
pretty much.
Basically the same thing. They're scanning, they're going back and forth, they got 3 legs or whatever.
And they
Same
fall
thing.
over and they die.
Oh,
Yeah,
one
they
thing
fall
real
over and die.
quick. Talking about Half-Life, the Xbox port of Half-Life 2. One thing, I don't know, it just like escaped out the memory hole. And did you know
Yes.
that in the OG Xbox port of Half-Life 2, the Konami code works
What?
and it refills your health and ammo.
No.
That's crazy.
Dude, that's dope.
I actually had to use that a few times to get through Nova Prospect back when I played it the first time because
It's tough.
that's hard and I'm not good at video games.
Oh, speaking of tangents and stuff. So I was delivering the other day and there was somebody cleaning out a house, like their grandparents or their parents passed away or something. And they're cleaning out the garage and they had some free stuff on the side of the road. And I was like, oh, okay, let me stop. So I took a 15. I'm like, hey, guys, what do you guys got? I see a TV here. And then I'm looking around. They have a Sony Trinitron just sitting there. A like old Sony monitor you can get. That's a TV
okay.
that's like sought after by collectors. And they're getting more rare nowadays. And so I'm like, oh, how much? And they're like, it's all free. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I took a TV, a desk, and the Trinitron. It did set in the back of a Amazon van for like probably 9 hours bumping on the road. I'm gonna see if they work. They should work, but hopefully they work. And if they do, I'm hooking that Xbox up to that.
Oh,
That's gonna look good.
that's premium experience.
Premium experience right there, baby.
Yeah, you gotta
beat
have
it.
the CRT when you play those old video games.
Yeah, dude.
It like the interlacing makes
Yeah.
those old games look way better.
Makes a huge difference. And like LED monitors, you can't. People who are used to LED monitors just don't have the respect for that.
You don't know that until you've seen it on a CRT.
Even some like movies and TV shows of the time, it just doesn't feel right when it's not on the right display.
Yeah, I remember when I first played because I grew up with the SNES. That was my like childhood console, and I remember the first time I played Super Mario World on something other than a CRT, and it was like, why does this game look so much uglier than I remember? It's so crazy how much of a difference that interlacing makes.
Or even stuff like even the OG Game Boy, like playing Mario Land 2 on an OG Game Boy versus like an emulator or even a Game Boy Advance compared to an emulator is night and day. Because it's not only just the exact hardware, but it's just the look of the screen and that it was made for that game. You know?
Even later stuff. My friend had a Wii before I did, and he had a CRT monitor that we would play Wii on. And I got a Wii, and I had a LED or a LCD, not LCD.
Yeah, it would be LCD, yeah.
TV in my house, and it just felt gross. It didn't feel right.
You're rocking 480p on a bigger screen. It doesn't look quite good.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Oh, I saw something online the other day where they're comparing screenshots of, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. You have the regular cut widescreen, but then they showed a screenshot of the full screen version. and it shows a screenshot. The screenshot was of Gandalf knocking on Bilbo's door in the beginning. And in the widescreen, it's widescreen, but his head's cut off a little bit. In full screen, yeah, it's shrunken down, it's narrowed out, but it's taller. They actually went into that full screen cut of the OG, like Fellowship of the Ring, and made it specifically for full screen. Now, not every movie's like that. Most movies are just going to shrink the sides and just keep it that way. But it's cool when like Hollywood and studios take care into different formats.
Yeah.
Kind of like what they do now with IMAX stuff and everything. Like back then for DVD and home video, they had the full screen cuts and they were taller. So interesting.
Mhm.
So, but anyway, but also there's kind of this, I'm starting to see on Twitter specifically, like game developers I follow and indie devs, where they're kind of, is for longing the right word? Longing for something you want? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're for longing for the 4:3 aspect ratio again. Because they look at the game design, they look at the way menus are set up today, and they showed a comparison of like their indie game and like their 3D platformer. And they showed like on a widescreen, but the stuff's all in the corner and the sides and everything. But then you have the 4:3, it's more cramped, but it feels better for some reason. Like it's more of a compact experience, but in the best kind of way. I don't know how to, I'm not describing it in the greatest manner right now, but there's something about the 4:3, and I think it might just be people are kind of looking at rose-tinted glasses. Like, I like my widescreen. I like having that, and Adobe Premiere, DaVinci Resolve. I like the extra space, and
Yeah.
watching movies, that's preferred for me. But there's something about the square, man.
Yeah.
That square. There's something about it.
It just,
I think it just has to do with, the fact that all these older games were
They were
made for that aspect ratio, because you didn't have video games in movie theaters. Like, they were made for home TVs, which were all 4:3. So I think that's just part of it. Like, yeah, sure, you could play an old school platformer with more information on the sides.
Yeah.
Would be welcome, but then it would look weird because the game wasn't designed with that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's transition this. Speaking of things that were made specifically for something, let's talk about episodes 1 and 2 and the kind of where they left off. Now, I don't want to go into too deep into episode 1 and 2. Episode 1's good. It's a good Half-Life 2 specifically. Episode 1. Valve, for those uninitiated out there, Valve said, "Hey, we're doing we're making Steam, baby. We're releasing the digital platform. Half-Life 2 is the first game. It's DRM, baby. It's here to stay." And man, did they get backlash. But they did it because Half-Life 2 was so hyped and sought after. And then they said, we're going to do episodic content and continue the story. You got episode 1, episode 2, and then it ends. Episode 1 is fine. I think it's cool. It's just a continuation. There's some cool stuff in there. But 2 specifically, especially the opening with the G-Man and him like seeking after Alex, is so interesting. I don't think you've played them, Jacob. You will.
I'm
but like
lost on the 2 episodes. I know nothing about them.
2 specific, like 1's cool, but in comparison to 2, that's like there's no shot, man. 2 is such a great Half-Life 2 experience. And it's, I think, 3 or 4 hours or something like that. And the stuff that's happening in the behind the scenes and the things that are starting to pop up that they're starting to introduce to the story is so dope. And like G-Man in Half-Life 1 says his, I can't remember the word he uses. It's not higher ups, but his, I want to say his bosses or something. That's what he's talking to about. That's what who he's referring to Freeman in the end of Half-Life 1. Like, oh, it's not investors, but my bosses basically are like, have much interest in you, Freeman, and we would like to hire your services. And that's how Half-Life 1 ends. And Freeman is saved. But in 2, you're starting to get like G-Man seeking out different things. And it's really unique and cool. And he wants Alex for some reason. He says, he doesn't say this, but he says something like, she's the key to all of this or something like that. And you're like, what's going on? And intrigue's like ramping up here. And there's a part where you have to protect, like she's in a coma or something, episode 2. And you have to protect her from the Vortigaunts are helping you, protecting her from like the antlions or something.
Okay.
And it's really a cool sequence, and just they ramp up the intrigue with her dad, with Judith, with all these other people. Like, hey, we can finally defeat the Combine. And then, of course, we get the ending in Half-Life Episode 2, which I won't spoil here. You don't need to know about it. You can go search it up on YouTube if you want. But the ending of that, it's so controversial nowadays. There's people I know that won't play the series because they know that it has a unsatisfactory ending. And there's different people I hear online that have the same thing. I'm like, come on, guys, it's so good. But David, you've played through episode 1 and 2.
Yeah.
What are your general opinions about those guys?
I would say that pretty much what you said. Episode 1 is good. It's not, but it's not really all that memorable, but it's good.
Yeah.
And then Half-Life 2 episode 2
It's confusing.
is extremely well done. I love, like, the addition of the hunters, the cool what is that, the weapon that one character is developing that you kill the Striders with.
Oh, I don't remember what the weapon's called, but yeah, you shoot them and boom or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, it's
that's
so cool. Just like it's just really sad to me that like it's so short. Like you have all these like interesting things that Valve is doing with episode 2. And it's like, I want more. Like, give me a whole game of this stuff.
Yeah.
But Valve I guess they didn't want to. I guess they didn't feel like they could make Half-Life 3 at the time because they didn't have enough, I guess, ideas that were worthy of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I was just like, give me a game that's like Half-Life 2 episode 2. Just give me a full game of that. I would have loved that.
The weapon's name is Strider Buster or something like that. The Strider Buster, because you're killing the Striders with it.
Yeah.
It's called like the Magnuson device.
Yeah, the Magnuson device. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
The Strider Buster. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, Half-Life 2 is great. Yeah, the ending's whatever, but honestly, like, even though when I got to that ending, I'm like, oh, because I actually was unspoiled the entire time. Like, the only thing I knew about the end was that it's a cliffhanger and something happens and then the credits roll.
I feel like the ending of every Half-Life game is abrupt and weird.
Yes.
And way out of left field. So the fact that this one was too,
it fits.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I think it's just the build up, like during the time, if you were there, like I know you were there, David, and I was unaware of it at the time, but even though I was alive, I guess. Well, I guess you and both, Jacob. But it's like, I look at the old Jeff Keighley interviews, him interviewing Gabe Newell. He's like, yeah, when episode 3 comes out and everything. And everybody's like, yeah, when's it coming out? And it's like 2009 and 10. And everybody's like, it's never coming out, man. They're never going to do it. And it's like, it's just so funny now looking back at it. And I think that's probably the way people should. Like, I don't think people should be bitter about it or anything. I don't understand that concept. Like, it ended. Enjoy for what it is, though. There's other stuff, too. I mean, we'll get into it soon. We have Black Mesa. We got Entropy. You can go play Half-Life 2 Deathmatch with lots of servers available, by the way. There's a bunch of little experiences that the community has gotten together. But, something I forgot. I'm sorry. Something I just remembered, so I wrote it down in the notes.
It must be good.
It's terrible, actually, because there's a reason why people are becoming more aware of Half-Life, or at least in the last, but let's say 3 years ago, Jacob.
Oh.
Yeah, 3 years ago. You know what I'm
talk
talking about? Of the meme. The skibbity toilet, baby. The G-Man. Who would know that billions of people would be seeing the morphed Gary's Mod version of that face in a toilet?
No one ever thought that was going to happen.
I would love Like, I know we're eventually going to get some kind of Half-Life thing eventually in the future. I want them when they interview and do like, you know, um, when Jeff Keighley does his like behind the scenes thing of like, the final days of Portal 2, the final days of Half-Life 2, the final days of whatever they're going to make, Half-Life Alyx and etc. I want him to interview them about Skibbity Toilet. I want him to get the inner thoughts of Gabe Newell and everybody at Valve of what they thought of Skibbity Toilet.
It just showed up so fast.
So quickly.
It's like you could go to, there was a point in time where you could go to Target or something and just buy a Skibbity Toilet plushie.
It was so big on the internet that even Michael Bay said, I'm developing a Skibbity Toilet movie. And we've heard nothing about it since then.
That's probably for the best.
Yes. But it's funny. So it's like, I don't know why I brought that up. I just thought about it. So
it's tangentially related.
Yeah, it's Gary's mod, baby. So yeah. But yeah, I think that Valve was working on other stuff at that point. They were kind of done with Half-Life. You had the Portal series. Portal 2 came out, I believe, in 2012. I could be wrong. No, 2011. And you had other stuff they were working on. You had Dota 2. You had Steam. They were focusing on that. And they've said time and time again, like, hey, we're not going to force people to make games. If there's a team that wants to get together within the company and do it, they can do it. We're not going to stop them. But it depends on who's interested in what and what they want to work on. That's why you have the Artifact Dota card game. You have Deadlock. You have Half-Life Alyx, because they wanted to explore the VR space and make a game title for the Index and their hardware, which we'll get into later. But let's get into some of the source engine mods, experiences, games, stuff that you guys, would like to talk about as well. I have my list here, but I think before we get any further, for Team Fortress 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Portal 2.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a lot we could do a whole podcast on probably each and every one of those, but overall, what's been like your favorite one outside of Half-Life? And if what's your favorite? What did you spend a lot of time in? And looking back on it, it's kind of cool that we got all this out of the source engine and of course mods as well. But let's start with those 5 games or whatever, like Team Fortress 2, Portal 1 and 2, and Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Like those 5, looking back on it, what do you guys think? You can go in kind of any direction you want. You can pick out any of one of these games and talk about it. So, David, I'm going to hand it off to you. Portal, Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress. What was your favorite and why?
My favorite would have to be the original Portal.
Ooh.
Simply because I played that one the most. I never actually played Portal 2.
What?
Yeah, I just never got around to it. But
tears of sorrow pour from my eyelids.
But yeah, I played Portal 1 a lot.
Yeah, it's in the orange box.
Yeah, that's where I played it. Was the orange box. Yeah, I played Portal 1 a lot just because it's got that unique Valve storytelling that it does so well, and it's just like, it doesn't matter that I know the solution, that I know the solutions to the puzzles already. It's just like experiencing the world, and the dialogue is just so much fun.
Yeah, and just hearing what GLaDOS has to say and finding the little drawings and stuff.
Yeah, when you find the cake is a lie little secret room thing, it's just like, oh my god, it feels so cool. Like, it's such a small thing, but the way they frame it, it just like, it feels like you're starting to unlock this whole grand conspiracy.
Yeah. Like Portal 1's great. For me, I would have to say it's Portal 2. Portal 2. I'm very sad you have never played it, David, because it is.
I'd say it's amazing, but
amazing.
It's definitely the base concept is the same. It's still Portal 2, but it's a totally different game in a lot of ways.
And there's so much more they do with it too. I mean, Portal 1 was, it was with the orange box, whenever the orange box came out, but Portal 2 was 2011, and I think for me personally, it has the number one and number two best characters in video games. And that is Gladys and that is Wheatley. And Wheatley's in Portal 2. And Portal 2 has some of the best characters, mostly helped out from the performances. But you have GLaDOS, I can't remember her name, or the guy who plays Wheatley, but you got Cave Johnson in Portal 2.
Cave makes a huge aspect as well.
J.K. Simmons, man. Holy crap.
What can't he do?
What can't he do? He gives it his all, and he brings so much personality to that character. And of course, the dialogue helps out a lot because this game is really well written. All the dialogue's really, really well done. Probably some of the best dialogue I've ever heard in a video game. And again, the characters in Portal 2. David, I can't say it enough, man. You need to drop what you're doing. You need to stop watching Game Grumps. Well, you can put on a second monitor if you want, but you gotta watch or play Portal 2, man. It is longer than the first one. I think you can. It's like 6 to 8 hours, but especially to go into the Portal puzzle solving stuff. But dude, GLaDOS, the potato, Wheatley, Cave Johnson, the underground, Aperture, and their references to Black Mesa. Bruh.
It's very worth playing, but I can't say it gains a lot of story and it gains a lot of direction, and there's a lot more put into the music and the art and stuff, but it loses a lot of the this is a puzzle game base aspect that Portal 1 had. Portal 1 was, I don't want to say bland because it wasn't bland. It had a lot of flavor, but at its core, it's a puzzle game that has some interesting aspects put on top to make it in a universe that's interesting. But Portal 2 is this interesting universe that you have to solve puzzles in.
Yeah. Jacob, that's a really interesting critique I never really thought of. It's like, yeah, it's a puzzle game, but it gets lost a little bit being in that universe.
A lot of time listening to Wheatley and a lot of time seeing the places of the old Aperture, and there's so much more story to it than the first Portal game, and it gains a lot and it loses a lot because of that.
I think it's like probably in my top 5 games of all time. Like, it's that good for me.
Yeah.
Just from the characters, just based on the characters. I think the puzzles are good. I think they're kind of a little obtuse in the second one, honestly. I think they're kind of like what you're saying, Jacob, like kind of get lost within itself. But it's by far worth a playthrough.
Co-op is great too.
And co-op's good, yeah, and that's its own separate thing that you can play.
Yeah.
I'll play it with you, David, if you want.
Yeah, take them up on that offer. It's not like Mario Party, you're gonna ruin your friendship. No. It's a good one.
You're working together. What is it? Peabody and
Atlas.
Atlas, that's it. Yeah, that's a good stuff. But yeah, Portal 2, and again, these games, for those listening, if you haven't played them, go play them because they're also stupid cheap and will work on every computer nowadays that you will buy. Every modern computer you buy will run all of this stuff. Also, super cheap. Portal 2, $2 on sale.
Wow.
Worth the game. Worth the price. I want to talk briefly about Left 4 Dead. My only experiences with Left 4 Dead 2, with a lot of co-op with my buddy, another Jacob, actually, one of my best buds, and he and me played through a ton of Left 4 Dead 2 with a ton of mods. I think I have it on my computer here, but it was like, because in the game, basically, it's tons of mods you can play. So many different skins on different characters. There's one specifically there's several specifically I had, but like I had the chick from BioShock Infinite as one of the characters. I had Here it is. I had Freddy Fazbear, what's her face from BioShock Infinite, and then Pierce Brosnan's James Bond from 007 or from GoldenEye as my party, and I think I was some other character. Oh, I was Nathan Drake from Uncharted. So it's like I had all the characters reskinned. We're also in the Mario 64 level, if you see that. And the undead are, I believe, Teletubbies is what I made it into. And there's just so much fun. And the base game itself is also great. It's just a fun co-op shooter, PvE style. And it, again, kind of started a lot of the trends that we saw going forward after Left 4 Dead released.
If we didn't have our Left 4 Dead, like we wouldn't have our Deep Rock Galactic.
Oh,
Like,
dude.
you wouldn't. That's the only one that's coming to my head right now. But there's so many of those,
a lot
like
of the friend swap.
the 4-player,
quotes. A lot of the friend
the
co-op games.
4-player go do this thing style of game
Mhm.
was hugely influenced by Left 4 Dead.
Without Left 4 Dead 2, we wouldn't have Helldivers 2.
No,
I think like there's a lot that I think the industry kind of like with Half-Life 2 a little bit with specifically with multiplayer games. Like it's kind of interesting. I never thought of it this way. Like Half-Life did a lot for shooters in general, but Left 4 Dead 2 did a lot for the multiplayer genre in general. So that's some cool stuff. Do you guys have any experience with Left 4 Dead 2?
oh yeah, lots of modding stuff, and it's similar to what you're talking about. Everybody's a Spartan from Halo
Yeah.
or something, or
You got Hatsune Miku
yeah.
with Freddie Mercury, fighting zombies. It's great.
Yeah, I never actually played Left 4 Dead simply because back around the time that it came out, I was a console gamer playing mostly single player stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't have experience any of that. But I do remember the how much of an impact it made on the industry, though. I was like, reading Game Informer and Electronic Gaming Monthly, and it's like, yeah, it had a huge impact. And yeah, it's just a really great concept, because prior to that, basically, like, what was playing a multiplayer shooter was like capture the flag and deathmatch.
Yep. Maybe some oddball, maybe.
Yeah, but it's like, aside from that was pretty much it. Aside from, various niche sort of things. And then Left 4 Dead is like, here's this concept that, like, basically the whole industry can adopt,
Yeah. And they did. The 4-player style of just you and 3 friends can complete a campaign it's still a huge thing.
It's also interesting how Turtle Rock Studios made the OG Left 4 Dead, and then Valve took it over after that. They kind of saw what they made and then made Left 4 Dead 2, which is basically the same game. Like, it even has the same campaign as the first one.
Yeah, you can play the first game's campaign in the second one, I believe.
Yeah. And there's, again, it's another game that's super cheap on Steam on sale. Tons of replay value. It still gets updated and just for bug fixes and stuff. But the community is ravenous. There's so much you can do with that game.
Yeah.
You were going to say something. I feel there's something in your eyes. You're like, I installed a mod that I probably should have.
I was going to lead into the next game.
Yeah.
Which shares a huge aspect with Left 4 Dead 2 of the modding, which is Gary's mod.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if either of you have any experience with it.
Barely dabbled for me.
Skivvy Toilet.
I barely dabbled in that too.
Gary's mod is one of those things where you have all these puzzle pieces of just like all of these assets that you can turn into whatever. And little kid me played Minecraft and was like, oh, I can build anything. And saw Gary's mod and was like, this is like the Minecraft, but with actual things. And that's not what it is. Gary's mod is another huge influential thing of user created options, user created weapons, levels, NPCs, stories, user created roleplay maps and like deathmatch maps, and like everything that you could think that you wanted to play was an option. Like you could find
Roblox for adults.
Yeah, it was Roblox before Roblox.
I don't think we would have Roblox without Gary's mod.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think we would have like all of the games that have mods in the way we think of it. I think they have a huge influence of Gary's mod seeing the modding community and accepting them so hard that it just becomes a standard. And I don't know. It's one of those things where you can do whatever, and it's still, like a lot of these other games, it's still very relevant today. I mean, they're trying to make, the original creators trying to make a Source 2
Yeah.
Gary's mod, and it's kind of flopping because it's not the same.
Yeah,
But
it hasn't gotten to that point yet, I think. I think once
Yeah.
we get an actual next title, like an actual shooter from Valve next, or whoever decides to do that, I think is when we'll get that next step. But again, I think it's interesting how we are kind of touching the bases here with Half-Life 2 for the shooter genre, Left 4 Dead with the co-op genre, and then you have Gary's mod with the community creation genre.
Yeah.
And all these originate from Half-Life 2. You also have CS:GO or Counter-Strike Global Offensive that
Yeah.
came out from Half-Life 2 and Source.
Which shaped esports in a lot of ways.
Shaped esports. Like the 2010s were it excel like that in League were the like the what's it called? The pervading like force behind that. Thank you for bringing up esports, by the way, because I didn't even think of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, now thinking of it, it's like League, Dota 2.
Every aspect of gaming has a tendril back to Granddaddy Half-Life.
Granddaddy Half-Life. I'm gonna
section
put
of
on
the
the
tree.
thumbnail the grandpa, like AI grandpa version of Gordon Freeman, where they do the face filter and they put it over like, hey, make me old, like that app or whatever that was popular a year or two ago. And
Oh,
they
you
did
mean
that
the
with
one that turned out to be like a Russian spy app?
I think,
Just
yeah,
like-
exactly. Yeah, you scan your face and it makes you
It's your
old.
birthday and your name.
Yeah, guys, don't send stuff into ancestry.com or that kind of stuff, please.
Yeah.
Well, even though it's not very relevant, kind of like with Half-Life, I think Doom as well. And we don't have to get too deep into this, but I was looking up because I remember David, I was like, oh, there's that mod for that one game that is an adaptation of House of Leaves, a book that is very I won't go and explain what the book is, but it's a very eccentric book, I guess you could say. But there's an adaptation of it in a game. And I was like, oh, it's a Half-Life mod, right? No, it's a Doom mod.
Oh, you're talking about
is-
myhouse.wad.
Yeah, is that
Yeah,
what-
my
it's
house
not
mod.
really it's not really an adaptation of House of Leaves.
I
Oh,
It's something it's inspired by House of Leaves,
okay.
but it's not an adaptation of House of Leaves. But yeah,
You all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Cool.
I just
Yeah.
hit the table.
but yeah, myhouse.wad is a great example of just like the amazing things that can come out of community created content that you would just never expect.
Yeah, and there's I think right now is actually a good time to get into it. Speaking of mods, I bring up the myhouse.mod because I thought it was a Half-Life mod, and I was like, oh, it's a Doom. But yeah,
Yeah.
Doom's a great example too of yeah, we had Granddaddy Half-Life, we had great Granddaddy Doom, Space Marine Doom, and it was awesome, and it still gets mods today. So Jacob, there was a couple Sundays ago, we had some people over because David found a Quake Champions mod for the OG Doom.
For Doom
Okay.
2.
Doom 2, and it's better than Quake Champions. You can actually be Gordon Freeman. You can be the guy from Blood, the guy from
Okay.
Black. Duke Nukem's in there. They have all these different things, and each character has a different move set. So if it's like this Doom guy, it's the Doom move set, like the way he moves. But if you have Gordon Freeman, it's the Quake move set.
Oh.
It's really freaking cool, and you can change the skins of all the guns if you want to be Half-Life coded or Duke Nukem coded, or
That's really cool.
it's fantastic. We have. I'm gonna schedule at some point a LAN get together in March here, and I'll let you know when we have it.
Please
but-
do.
Dude, it was freaking awesome, man. It was so cool. Oh my god. Before we get any further, I do want to touch briefly, speaking of LAN stuff, of Half-Life multiplayer and Deathmatch for 2. Deathmatch for 2 is super fun. It is, you got the gravity gun. Just put on that map where you're fighting the antlion in the campaign, where it's the bathroom, basically, the giant bathroom shower area level. Pick up the gravity gun, get some people in there, host a server, get the toilets and start tossing them at each other, man. It is so much fun. Get the crossbow thing and start shooting. It's such a good time. And especially when you get like the pulse, like alien, not the AR2, but the one where it's like you charge it up and it shoots. You can do that to launch yourself. It's so dope. It's so much fun. Half-Life 2 Deathmatch is just fun and chaotic. And Half-Life 1's similar. It's just without the gravity gun, and it's kind of like Quake. It's just, we've had so many fights in Half-Life 1, David, where us and the nieces and the nephews are like, like, what the heck, man? Why'd you do that? Ah! And we're just like shooting rockets at them and everything. It's so much fun. But that's all I really have to say. It's just, at the LAN party, we've done a lot of Half-Life 1, and it's a good time. It's a good basic first one to jump into. Like we did, I think, Doom 2 when we had like, I think 13 or 14 people one time. We had Doom 2 because we had people on the Xbox, which has crossplay with the one on Steam. And it was just a lot of fun. But anyway, that's all I'll say about the deathmatch for 2 and 1. It's good stuff. And of course, Sven co-op. But let's talk about Black Mesa for a second. I don't know if you guys have seen anything of this or have played any of Black Mesa. Piquito? Okay.
A little bit.
I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
So it was a joint effort. There was 2 guys that were remaking Half-Life 1. So basically the story behind it is Valve releases Half-Life 2, right? And to coincide that, they release a port of Half-Life 1 to the source engine so that people can play around with it and do stuff. But it was kind of advertised by ATI as a remake or a remaster, and it's not that at all. It's a straight port. It's the same exact game. It's just running on the code base of the source engine. Mm-hmm. So people were bummed out, disappointed, and they wanted to remake Half-Life themselves. So they did. 2 guys started separate ones where they started recreating Half-Life 1. They eventually joined forces, and after combining forces, after getting a small dev team together, I believe of 10 to 20 people, something in that range, Valve actually, they got enough attention from Valve where it's now a licensed product on Steam you can buy. It's just called Black Mesa. It's a full remake of Half-Life 1 with some inspiration of their own kind of personality to it. And it's the same game, just totally remastered. And if you're going to play Half-Life 1, Black Mesa is the version to play. It is so good. I played through it twice and once through the Zen levels because they completed the game like 2016, 17 or something like that, but they didn't do the Zen levels, so it wasn't complete. The Zen levels came out in 2020, and that was the last bit they did. But dude, this remaster is freaking awesome, man. It is beautiful. It destroyed my PC, my R9 380 that I had. I was like, well, it didn't destroy it, but man, it chugged it out. I was like, man, I can't run this thing at max settings, even though this is a source engine game. And the animations, especially on the guns, are so amazing. And yeah, better faces. I think they redid all of the voice acting. They brought the guy who did the original scientist, who is Dr. Kleiner. He's back into it.
That's cool.
Such a great example of taking something and treating it with respect and expanding upon it in all the right places. There are some people who I've seen retrospectives and stuff say, man, the Zen levels still kind of suck. I'm not going to lie. But I'm like, I remember playing through the Zen levels and being very impressed because they're very simple in the OG Half-Life. They're very, very simple and they kind of drag out a little bit. Yeah. The crouch jumping, like the launching is dope. They bring that in. There's a whole cinematic chase with the giant creature in the OG Zen levels, but they redo it and it's so awesome, man. It is so cool. This game is awesome. Black Mesa is great. When it's on sale, you get it for $5 and it is amazing. It's totally well done. I can't recommend it enough. It's so good. Let's see what's next on the list here. All right, so we talked about Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. There's a couple smaller mods that I'd recommend to people and check out. It's called Half-Life Caged. So without dying, you could probably get through it in 20 minutes, but it's about 20 to 45 minutes. It took me about 45 minutes. It's a short prison breakout story in the Half-Life 1 engine, and you carry a plunger instead of a crowbar. And it's just a fun little mission level. It's really great. It's well done. Has a funny little ending after you get out of there. And it's called Half-Life Caged. The next one is Half-Life 2 Downfall. This is basically kind of an extension on the last level of episode 2, where you're shooting at the striders with the gun, but this is just in that kind of area. So this is just another level, takes about 30 minutes to complete. It's just another Half-Life 2 level that's pretty well done, and I played through a lot of these, and these are like the best ones I found. So Half-Life 2 Downfall, just add it to your Steam library. It's free. If you have Half-Life 2, you can play it, and it's a it's a good time. The last one is, or the next to last one is really interesting. So it's called Transmissions Element 120. Just type in Transmissions, it'll pop up on Steam. It's a frightening horror short set of missions where you have a super powerful gravity gun. And it's eerie and horror coded. It's very frightening. And it's just a really good time. I think it came out in like 2017, 18, excuse me. Just a really well done community made mod and made by one dude. And he did a great job. The last one I have on my list here is Entropy Zero. So I told you about this, Jacob. I don't know if you ever had a chance to check any of them out.
I didn't, unfortunately.
It's all good. No worries. But if you want more good Half-Life content, Entropy Zero is so good. The first one, it's fine. It's a good game. It takes about, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. You play as a Combine soldier through the game, and it's pretty decent. It's pretty good. It's got some good set pieces in there, some good stuff in there. I tried to replay it. I got stuck in the first level because of a glitch, and I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. But I started replaying 2 the other night, and I didn't want to put it down. Because Entropy Zero 2, made by the same dude, I think it's a few people that made this. But if you take anything away from our conversation today about Half-Life, this is the mod to play. Entropy Zero 2. You do kind of have to play the first one to get who you are and who you're playing as. But when you get into 2, I'll tell you what, man, if you like Half-Life or remotely like it, oh my God, you gotta play this thing, dude. It is so good. It is, it's a Half-Life game on multiple levels. It is Valve. It feels so much like a Valve game from good to great quality. The second part is so good, man. It continues the story of Half-Life as well. Of course, from a different perspective. And it gives some really rewarding bits of fan service that is really tastefully done. A few years removed from after a few years when I was first I played a couple years ago. I replayed it the other night, and I was replaying it because I couldn't remember, David, why I liked it. Because I remember I was telling you about it, and you were telling me what you looked up about it, and I was like, yeah, man, there's some cool stuff. And I was like, after your conversation with me, I was like, why was it that good? I don't really remember it. And then I replayed it, and I started it, and within the first 10 minutes, I kept saying, oh, this is cool. I'm down. This is so interesting. And then, as I kept playing, there was truly some surprising moments that I was reminded of that was integral to the plot. Who you're playing is super interesting. How they're getting to the places they are is super interesting. This is a character you're playing as who is from a prior Half-Life game. It's really interesting in the vein of Opposing Force and Blue Shift. This is basically what Opposing Force and Blue Shift for Half-Life 2 for me. It is Entropy 01 and Entropy 02. This is Opposing Force and Blue Shift. They're so good. And this second game, it's just got that nice injection of Valve goodness. And I couldn't stop playing. The music, the voice of the protagonist, and the voice of the other character you meet along the way is some pretty interesting stuff, and it's heavily involved with what did happen after Half-Life 2 Episode 2. There's some interesting stuff that goes down. And I would highly recommend it. The only thing I'll say about the story is you play as a Combine soldier, and you hear the name spoken, and you tie that to a previous title of Half-Life, and you're like, oh, that's who I am. But then the second game, the second part here I'm talking about, there's just thing after thing after thing. The pacing's really good. New stuff's always happening to you. The animations of the guns are great. The sound is great. I can't recommend it enough. You gotta seek out Entropy 02 and 1. But that's all I got for you guys on the Source Engine stuff. Any last bits on TF2 or Titanfall? I don't know if you can include Titanfall in there, but stuff that's other Source experiences, you know?
All I remember about Team Fortress 2 is that I so wished I was a PC gamer when I saw like the initial like buzz about it, like the initial demos and the stuff I read about it in gaming magazines. I was like, this looks so cool. But, you know, I was just I was just a console gamer, and I was not in a position to acquire a PC or connect it to the internet at that stage in my life, and so I was never able to experience that. But yeah, I wanted to. I wanted to.
How about you, Jacob? TF2 at all? Or nah?
I have some experience, but it was far like later when the community was more built up.
Yeah.
I can say my like loading screen with all my stats on it is not very impressive, but I've dabbled some.
Yeah, my experience is just I played bot matches because I didn't have good internet enough to play matches. So I just played bot matches and I got the idea and I'm like, oh, this is cool. But it wasn't really for me. If I had like a LAN set, if we do it on a LAN setup, that'd be kind of interesting. But last time we tried to play it on LAN, we couldn't figure out how to host a game. I was like, wait, what? How do you? It's not working. And we spent like 20 minutes on it. I'm like, forget it. It's dumb.
TF2 is so internet based. It's kind of.
At this point, I think TF2 is kind of like a broken game.
Oh, really?
I've seen some interesting YouTube videos on like what it's like now, and it seems like it's basically Valve is just doing the bare minimum to maintain it, even though the game is clearly broken.
Oh,
and yeah, it's one of those things. It's very strange.
Yeah, the whole thing about the cosmetics and buying them from third-party websites. Same thing with like CS:GO or CS2 now. The whole thing about microeconomics around these titles it's really shady when you dive deep into it.
Yeah.
Like I haven't watched that I can't remember the guy, not Vine Sauce, but or some Zilla. I can't remember the dude's name. CoffeeZilla. He did a whole deep dive on the economics of Counter-Strike and the market that has now been created around it, from whether it be in the US or some third world countries or Canada or Europe or whatever. There's a lot of shady stuff apparently that happens in that market. A lot of like scammers, a lot of gambling websites specifically where you're gambling to get CS skins and that kind of stuff. I haven't dove too deep into it, but it's interesting how Valve doesn't go after these companies that do it. They've gone through some other things that have gotten attention, but they kind of just leave it alone. And I find it really weird. Like, there's people who are gambling on $1,000 knife skin for Counter-Strike. And this was during Global Offensive before 2 came out. And it makes me question why they won't get involved, but maybe it's something where like, if we don't have to, we aren't going to do it.
I mean,
because it's separated.
They put it in the game. Like,
yeah,
there are loot boxes and there are skins and they make money off of it. So at the end of the day, isn't that what they wanted?
Yeah, and it prompts, it uplifts engagement for the game in general. So if people are gambling on some third-party website for a skin, that means they're going to spend time in the game.
Yeah.
Or sell that skin to another player who's going to spend time in the game. So there's like, I don't know. I that's not the reason I'm not into CS:GO or TF2 or something like that. But I look at that and I'm like, out of all the things I love about Valve, this is the one thing I don't like, is the fact that it's kind of scummy, the whole microeconomics about these games, specifically with TF2 and CS2 now. But speaking of CS2, let's dive into the future of the Half-Life franchise, gentlemen. We have currently a couple games released on the Source 2 engine. The Source 2 engine finally came out, guys.
Yeah.
It's a miracle. It's real. It came out, I couldn't tell you when, but Artifact, that card game, I think was the first game we got it with. And then we got eventually CS2, which was priorly titled Global Offensive. Still Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's Counter-Strike. It's got some cool smoke physics
Well,
now.
isn't CS2 technically just a Source 2 port of Global Offensive?
Yeah, and they just renamed it to CS2.
Yeah, exactly.
With different...
It's got some
stuff.
new maps or something.
Yeah, it got
But as
maps.
far as games that are actually like developed for the ground up for the Source 2, isn't basically at this point Half-Life Alyx pretty much the only one?
Yeah, so I went through a list. Basically, you're looking at Half-Life Alyx and Deadlock, as well as like I believe the Dota 2 card game Artifact. I think that's about it is what we're looking at.
What is Deadlock? You've brought it up a couple times now.
So Deadlock is basically like a hero shooter, but it's also a mix between something
Hasn't it also not come out yet?
officially, yes. But they actually Deadlock is a hero shooter, but you have lanes you're working with, kind of like in League of Legends or Dota 2, for example. So
that's the twist.
That's the twist. It's a hero shooter, but you got your minions in your lanes. So it's I've seen a video on it. Somebody like spent like 80 hours or something into it and they were telling their experience. It's pretty intuitive, pretty interesting. It's got a cool movement system. Just like the OG Overwatch, all the characters, in my opinion, bleed personality. There's so many interesting like combinations. It's basically kind of like a steampunk world. And all the characters are really unique and cool. And they just dropped a massive update. I think a couple months ago or in the last couple months, where a ton of characters are available. They redesigned some characters. It's basically in beta at this point. Like it's a very like capable game at this point. And this is like Valve's next title they're currently working on, or a team within Valve is working on.
Okay.
Excuse me. But it's not, I haven't really played it. I don't think it's really for me. Excuse me. I don't think it's for me. But it's starting to form a really cool community around it, and the characters look cool, and the movement system's awesome. Every character can they turned bunny hopping into a mechanic. There's a couple different things about the movement where you can jump on walls and that kind of thing. It is interesting. Like I would encourage you to seek out a little video essay on it, like that's more in the last month or so. But it's made in Source 2 from the ground up. And that's what I want to get to, because what is the future of Half-Life, gentlemen? But before we get into what we can speculate, let me get into a little bit of background here. And this is kind of to give you some ideas to go off of here. So there are some things that are talked about at the beginning of the Half-Life 2 doc from NoClip that was released on Valve's YouTube channel, where early in the doc they interview a guy named David Riller, a level designer. And this was for Half-Life 2's 20th anniversary. This was released back in 2024, I believe. He tells about some sequences that ended up getting cut from the HL2. They were 4 cities that were explorable. Prague, which eventually turned into City 17, but then there's 3 others. You had Jerusalem, Chicago, Las Vegas. You also had some other stuff, such as an Arctic base, an underwater base, an icebreaker ship, the Borealis, an airplane sequence that crashed into a high-rise, which they took out because, it's 04, so it's after 9/11. You have combine bases set in the wasteland, like desert area. You have an air exchange hangar, which was where the combine was stealing the atmosphere from Earth, as it was described, which gives you more deep, look into the lore. They cut out basically all of this, and it got. Let's see, how did I write this? Oh my god, I can't even read these notes. They cut all this stuff, but it makes me wonder if they will use any of these in a potential Half-Life game. Personally, for me, I have not played Half-Life Alyx. I've stayed away from all spoilers and videos about the game. I just want to wait. I'll play it eventually. Maybe I'll get a PSVR 2 and get it then or something.
Yeah, I'm going to wait till it comes out on non-VR.
Yeah, you're going to wait till they make a mod. Well, they do have a mod, actually. But I kind of just want to wait until I get a VR headset because I want to play it the way it was intended. But you can play it with mouse and keyboard, David. There's an actual good mod that.
Oh, there is? Huh?
Yeah, but I think last year in 2025, there's a mod where you can play mouse and keyboard. But I kind of just want to play it in VR, personally. But there's that option.
Yeah, I don't really like VR, so I've played a few VR games, and it's like I don't particularly enjoy it.
Well, with our
it's a limitation of making it on VR is some people get motion sickness, and it's just not accessible. You
Yeah.
you gain some immersion and you lose some accessibility.
That's a great, well put. So Half-Life 3, or potentially maybe, I don't know. Let's see. This is going to be a little bit of a read, so get ready, guys. For all the supposed leaks about Half-Life, I'd encourage you guys or those listening to go follow Tyler McVicker on YouTube. He's, oh man, they changed a line of code and this confirms Half-Life 3. He's that kind of guy. But he has done a great breakdown of the last several years of Source 2 and the development of Source 2, and this is why I bring this up. So basically what you need to know is from data mining the current state of Source 2 files and the code in Deadlock and Counter-Strike 2, we are aware of something called Half-Life X or HLX. This title is labeled under many files that you can find within the Counter-Strike 2 and Deadlock files. This is just code base, basically. The files are tied to systems and operations such as fire and water, behavior, and how they operate, as well as code that is labeled under HLX that ties itself to gravity gun sound effects, the systems of water and fire and snow, code involving breakable props, new vehicle-related parameters, physics, and entities, as well as ammo sound effects, which are labeled under Half-Life X. Now, before we speak on this topic, this is what Tyler says in one of his more recent videos where he kind of breaks down how Source 2 works. It's unclear if these things are listed as Half-Life, but it's definitely not Half-Life Alyx. This is a different thing entirely. Here's the transcript that I found from that first video. This is Tyler speaking. Beginning quote here, Valve doesn't fork the Source 2 engine. When Valve works on a specific game running Source 2, all the engine code they pull from to build that game is the same across all the titles. This allows for any aspect of the engine's evolution to quickly be pulled and utilized on any title. If a developer creates a new system with Deadlock in mind, but the Dota team thinks that would be good to improve their own game, implementation is trivial compared to needing to port the functionality from Deadlock and branch it over to Dota 2. So it's all like a unified code base. If you change something that's made in Deadlock and you label it as a Deadlock, they can take that and put it in the Dota 2 game, basically, or Dota. However, as with all things, there is a downside. Imagine a team working on a yet unannounced project, but that project is using Source 2. The team creates many functions and features of the engine specifically for this unknown game. But due to how Source 2 shares everything across all titles, it doesn't matter if any other game is actually going to use those functions. Eventually, they're just going to be brought into the engine of all the base games. Since many of Valve's Source 2 titles are actively updated multiplayer games, it is easy to check the internal workings of the engines and compare it to prior versions of that engine as the patches get through. This means that all a person would have to do is to keep an eye on the inner workings of Valve. Is compare every patch to games such as Dota 2, Deadlock, and Counter-Strike, and cross-reference them to previous versions. So anything new that was added between the two versions, you can study it and check it out, and as the patches slowly roll out through Valve's entire library. The tactic, which projects over, and he goes into it from there. But basically, as the years have wore on, as we've gotten Counter-Strike 2, as we've gotten Deadlock, something called HLX is in the files, and it's a game, and it's tied to the stuff I said before, vehicles, ammo type, sound effects. There's also stuff about physics and specifically like effects of fire and water and snow. So it's like there's and there's also new things added to a certain gravity gun item that is in the code base. So basically that's where we are with Half-Life 3. That's all we know. There's something called HLX. It could be an expansion to Half-Life Alyx. It could be something else. We don't know. And it's not Half-Life Alyx. So with that knowledge, what do you guys think of a potential future Half-Life game? And us knowing, honestly, none of the, I don't know if you know any of this, David, but I don't know any of the ending of Half-Life Alyx. I don't know any of the story about it. Oh, you don't? Okay, so us not having that knowledge and with this information of the code, what do you think we're going to get with a potential next Half-Life game? Or are we even going to get any?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it could really be anything. Yeah, I've never played Half-Life Alyx, and I don't think I've watched any playthroughs, though I did hear something like I think they like retcon the ending of episode 2 or something to um to continue the story in Half-Life Alyx. And that's all the information I know, and I'm not even sure if that's true or not.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, this information is so vague. It's like when you think about it, like it seems like it must, like obviously has to be either Half-Life 3 or some kind of continuation of the Half-Life story in some sense. But at the same time, it could all just turn out to be stuff they were working on but decided not to release, or it could be some kind of giant misdirection ploy. Because at this point, like, because I've watched that guy's videos who you're talking about, you know, going over all the changes to the source 2 code. It's like I've got it this time.
I got it, guys.
You know,
Real.
at this point, Valve is probably well aware that people are checking up on the source 2 code for any little tidbits of information they find. So either they're completely cool with it, because they know it drives speculation and interest and engagement, or they're using it to mess with people.
Yeah.
Or all the above, maybe. What about you, Jacob?
I think finding this sort of hints in the code is extremely relevant, and kind of weirdly enough, bringing it back to Half-Life 1, this iterative, the process that they're still using for these two newer games through CS2, Alyx, and Deadlock, it's the same process that Valve has always done. Something I saw when I was looking up information to be here today is when Valve was making Half-Life 1, before they were making Half-Life 1, they were making 2 games. The first game was called Prospero. The second one was called Quiver. Prospero eventually started to build up a bunch of new assets for the engine, a bunch of new ideas similar to what we're seeing in the background of the code currently. And all of those aspects, the majority of those aspects started getting transferred into Quiver, the second game that they were working on concurrently. And many of those aspects were just put into Quiver until Prospero wasn't its own game anymore, and Quiver was the main focus that turned into Half-Life. That process of building up a game just so that you could have assets, just so you could have ideas to make a new game, has always been something that Valve has done. So if we're seeing that now with CS2 and Alyx and Deadlock, of they're making games that just so happen to have assets and aspects that are comparable and usable in a different game, of course they're going to do that. On the other hand, how many years has it been since Half-Life 2 Episode 2 came out?
I think it was 2006.
So it's been
20 years ago?
20 years. It seems like a total long shot in my mind for them to decide, let's just bring it back. 20 years, we'll make another one. Even if there is still the hype, it's the current consoles, the people who are buying PS5s and stuff aren't the people who played Half-Life 2. And the people who will buy GTA 6 may or may not have been the people who grew up with Half-Life 2. We're a different culture as gamers now.
Yeah.
So they'd have to do a lot to bring it to be on the front stage right now in some ways. I think it would be top of the headlines everywhere if it came out, but for them to make something that's so generationally impacting again, it's going to take a whole lot.
And also, with Gabe Newell, currently more interested in,
Yachts.
oceanography and fighting the Rothschilds in court. I don't know how much attention he can spare for Half-Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to entertain the idea that they are working on a Half-Life title of some sort, but I don't know. There's more details I have seen throughout the last year or so about potentially what they're working on, but the more I see, the more I'm like, this could be really cool, and man, this is really awesome. But then you guys just gave me the reality check. They're like, this is the way it is. The only Half-Life game we've gotten is Alex, which was released 6 years ago at this point, which is crazy to think. That was in 2020.
Yeah, that
Like,
doesn't feel like it was that long
No, it
ago.
doesn't feel it at all. And nobody played that because it was a VR only game.
Yeah.
And it wasn't on any PlayStation VR, and barely anybody has even that. So it's like,
Yeah, even though I
Yeah.
feel like I don't think I've heard anything negative about it other than
yeah.
the way it is being
Yeah,
VR.
everything I've heard about people playing it say it's awesome. It's amazing. You got to play it. It's a great VR game.
But you have to own a multi-$100 piece of equipment to
Yep.
even start to play it.
On top of already owning a pretty decent PC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it's a lot to ask. So I think Deadlock's cool. It was so funny. So I remember the game was being play tested. The Steam item, it was in the like code, like in the Steam DB, basically Steam database. And for some reason it had like 10,000 players. And people are like, well, what's going on? Why is it getting so big? Turns out it was a closed beta or a closed alpha or something. And they said on the title screen, do not talk about this game, but you can invite your friends to install the game. So like wildfire, this game started getting installed on a bunch of people's computers, or excuse me, added to their library, and you can install it and play it. And
Servers were just dying.
no, it was just people were playing the game, and Valve didn't do anything about people posting gameplay. They just let it happen, and they just didn't do any DCMCA stuff. They just said, hey, just don't share it. But yeah, it's like, that's it. That's all they said. In fact, you can actually, instead of hitting accept, you can hit escape on the keyboard at that first screen, and you don't have to accept the terms.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Now the game's public. People know about it, but it was funny because I remember I saw it was on Twitter, and people are like, yo, check out the new Valve game. Like, yeah, right. And then turns out, oh, a new Valve game. Interesting. So, yeah, I'm sure Deadlock will have some kind of place. They'll probably make it super nice and clean for Steam Machine or something like that, which we'll get into next year. But I think there's a lot of hopium on the internet right now. I think that as much as I would like, you know what? Here's the thing. I said this back in 2019, though. I could see a new Half-Life game released in the next 3 years or so. I feel like there's enough interest inside the company. They made Alex. So I think there's enough interest where people would say, hey, let's, and with the code showing that there's different like fire effects and snow effects, like basically the concept for people pitching this Half-Life game that's happening, whether it be 3 or not, is you have the ability to manipulate fire, water, and like snow and stuff like that. Like the idea elemental, yeah, with like the gravity gun or something. This is a similar concept that was cut from Portal 2, I believe. So it's like you're tying a bunch of loose ends together to kind of, hey, they could be working on something. I would like to think they are working on something. HLX, it could be whatever, but maybe they're preparing something, but who knows? In fact, who knows? Maybe when this podcast we look back on this podcast 6 months from now, maybe we're going to be like, wow, we were right, really right, or we were really wrong.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Wow.
But
Half-Life Extreme is out now.
Half-Life Extreme. It's a snowboarding game.
It's like SSX.
That's what the elemental stuff has to do with it. Oh, but I'd like to hope. A man could hope, can he? We'll see. But I wouldn't put money on it, is what I'll say. Also, why would you release in a year that GTA 6 comes out?
Yeah,
If you're going to
steal your thunder.
Go next 2027, baby. Or wait for the next console. I don't know. But speaking of console, let's talk about Steam Machine. So Valve made, this is another argument for Half-Life 3, by the way. Valve has got new hardware on the way. Now, there's a lot that goes with this, and this will be the last thing we do, and then we get out of here. But I do want to hear your guys' thoughts on the Steam Machine, and if it will release at a price you would be willing to pay. Jacob, let's start with you. Steam Machine, Valve made an announcement video. 3 pieces of hardware. I don't know if you saw it or not. You had the Valve Frame, which is a VR headset that's freaking dope. You had the Steam Machine, which is looks really cool, as well as a controller. So this is pretty interesting.
And they're all part of the Steam Deck sort of lineage, right?
Yes.
That's what they're trying to build on is
Yes,
modern
they're all
Steam
part of
OS.
the model Steam OS, correct. In fact, Steam OS on the frame is actually on ARM. So it's not on like x32 or 64 like a Windows computer or something like that. It's based on ARM hardware, which is what you find in mobile. You find it in Apple's chips as well, and so on and so forth. The biggest caveat, guys, is we got a personal computer market disaster in terms of component pricing. There's a couple AI companies out there that have literally bought in all of the RAM for the next. I follow Moore's Law is Dead, who talks a lot about this stuff. He's talking about a year and a half until we get back to normal. Now, big companies can get it at different prices because they're buying it in bulk, but personal computer market where you're just buying RAM for a computer, it's kind of not that great right now.
Yeah.
So Valve supposedly has in some stock. We don't know how much. What do you think, Jacob? Do you want the Steam Deck? But are you gonna get it? That's the question I'm asking you.
The Steam Deck or the
Steam Machine? My
Steam
bad.
Machine.
Let's start with Steam Machine. What are your thoughts on it, and will it come out? And will you?
What
do you think?
I spend a lot of time around college students who have trying to hold hobbies like video games, and the conversation of how am I gonna get a PC comes up all the time because it's so like impossibly expensive right now. Just the way things are of you can't get RAM, you can't get graphics card unless you're getting last year's stuff or used stuff. And right now that's like the solution I'm seeing is you just go buy on Facebook Marketplace or on Craigslist, you got and get somebody's last year's setup. But if Steam really, I don't know the exact specs of the Steam Deck, but I imagine or not Steam Deck,
Machine.
It's Steam Machine. Gonna make that mistake 100 more times.
Yep.
I don't know the specs, but if Steam's releasing it or if Valve's releasing it, it's going to be to compete with modern technology console-wise, to be an alternative to buying and building a PC. And it should be able to run top-of-the-line games is the hope.
Yeah. That are compatible with Steam OS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what they're aiming for with the hardware, correct?
Yeah, so basically it is basically what it is this. They have a pretty dang good processor in there. You'll see a lot of people say, oh, it's an older architecture. The PS5 isn't even older architecture. This is like a step up from the architecture that's in the PS5. It's older, yes. It's not the absolute concurrent, but when the PS4 came out, it had USB 2 compatibilities. So don't talk to me about modern stuff. Like consoles have always had older hardware in them. So there's that. But it's supposedly like a decent mid-ranged. Like basically it's going to be a computer that can handle 1080p pretty decently and use FSR for upscaling to 4K, which means you're just going to be upscaling it. So it's going to be a 1080p image, you're going to upscale it to 4K. So and basically the price breakdown before the RAM shortage hit was Valve was going to make profit at $450 after they purchased all their stuff at the current price market.
Even if
profit at $450.
Even if they sat at like 600,
yeah,
I think that's still reasonable because it's not just a gaming console. Yeah, it's a computer, right?
It is a computer. It's a personal computer.
So you can do what you can do with a Windows computer. And if you're really getting it for $600, what's the cost of going and getting a brand new gaming PC right now?
Yeah.
It's Like
It's
double,
about
triple
It's
that?
double or triple. Yeah, it's about 800 for a good system, I would say.
Okay, so
Yeah.
not as much as I was thinking.
Yeah, so and that's
And I'm
with
thinking like a pre-built, like you go to Costco
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and get something that's like got the RTX big thing.
Yeah, you're
right
paying
now.
upwards of 1,000 for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 800 to 1,200, I would say.
Okay.
But that was before the RAM shortage. So, say Valve still has enough RAM, say they buy enough for 2 million. That's great, but that's only 2 million Steam machines you can make. They have to buy more after that. So, say Valve has all the parts in place, but they have to buy more, and to get enough of the thing, here's the thing. If they price this thing with the market things and they go and get all the new components, right? Because the way they sourced their GPU was a GPU AMD didn't want anymore. And so they cut Valve a deal and gave it to them. Is basically how I would describe it. They had an older GPU that was for like a tablet line or like a more beefier laptop kind of line. But they said, we have to cancel it. What do we do with all these GPU chips? Oh, Valve, you're making this thing? Oh, hey, you want to do this? And turns out Valve made a deal with them and they got it for a really nice price.
Hmm.
The biggest obstacle they have to overcome is RAM and SSD pricing. So they're talking about a 512 gig SSD and then a 2 terabyte SSD version. That's going to get a little pricey, especially when you jump up that high.
Yeah.
Now, with RAM, they can maybe cut deals, and I think it's going to be double price. So the Moore's Law is Dead had the RAM priced at like, for the 16 gigabyte kit, they were probably paying like, and again, this is them buying like thousands upon thousands of orders. I think it was like $18 to $21 for the 16 gig kit. We're going to double, triple that price. Say they did pay another $60. Like, say they did pay $60 for that instead. Say let's triple that.
Yeah.
That's still pretty decent. And even if they double, triple the SSD price, you're still probably going to make profit at $800. But that's an if. That's a big if. Say they don't have all the RAM they have, and they still have to order more to get a good, like Steam Deck right now is out of stock. It's going in and out of stock right now. So if this thing sits pretty at like $600, I wouldn't expect it to sit there for too long. But I think Valve is just trying to figure out right now, do we do it at 6, do it at 7, do we do it at 8? Because we'll make a profit, but like...
And if they put it out there with this older
Yeah.
version at that price,
Yeah, are people going to want to buy it for that
Yeah.
much? That's the thing.
are they just going to sit on shelves until the new one comes out?
Yeah, or the Steam Deck 2 eventually. You know, I mean, we're gaining rumors right now in 2020. This is March 2026. We're doing this, where PS6 is getting potentially delayed. That was going to be next year in 2027, but with the shortage, you were looking 2028, 2029. But I would love to get a Steam Deck personally. I want to get a Steam Deck. I'm going to pass along to David. I know he wants a Steam Deck. David,
Steam machine.
excuse me, Steam Machine. I have a Steam Deck. David, Steam Machine launches 600, 700, 800. Where are you out? You're in right now, but where are you out?
I'm probably out anywhere north of like 700.
Yeah, I'm same on that one. I'm out at 7. After 700, I'm out.
Yeah.
I would scrunch up as much as I could. I wouldn't buy the chicken I usually buy at the store for that month, but I would scrounge around. I would get that $700. Or David, you and me can cut a deal and we pay half and half. Whatever. I don't care. But we have that luxury. Maybe. Who knows? I'll cut you a deal, David. The art of the deal with David, man. Anyway, if it's $800, which who knows if it is or not, I'm out. But I don't know, man. I think this thing's going to be awesome. The lift, like the controller waking it up and everything is cool. You could also stream to it. It's such a cool little box. And it's going to be so useful. You can upgrade it. You can even upgrade, I believe, the RAM yourself if you want. Like it has the regular RAM modules in it, not the laptop level stuff.
Oh,
Or
that's good.
I think it has laptop level memory. So you just have to get laptop level DDR5.
But that's not impossible.
Yeah, it's not impossible. It's just expensive right now if you do want to upgrade it.
Yeah.
Which you won't need to. It's going to run perfectly fine a lot of things.
The only problem with it is, from what I understand, the GPU has only 8 gigs of VRAM.
Yeah, so that's another big thing. I'm currently running RTX 2080 Super which is a good card, a great card. It has 8 gigs of VRAM though, and a lot of titles like Doom the Dark Ages, for example, really don't like 8 gigs of RAM above 1080p. So if I'm playing a game on my 1440p monitor, it sucker's chugging. It is really chugging, and I gotta go to, performance FSR to get a good frame rate at 1440p, which is now actually a 900p image with that resolution scaling.
Yeah.
So I'm just running at 1080p, low to medium settings, and I'm having a good time.
Speaking of VRAM, though, that 3060 you got for this computer here.
Yeah, the 3060 Ti.
Yeah.
With 12 gigs of VRAM.
That was a really great find. That was a really great find.
Yeah, dude, this guy on Marketplace in Corning was like $160.
Oh, damn.
I'm like, this has to be a scam.
Yeah.
And I messaged him, and he still held on to it after Christmas, and I got it the day after Christmas, and it works. And I can't, it was like a young couple. They just had a baby, and they're trying to get rid of stuff and save money. So I'm like, thank you, Mr. Sir. I appreciate it. $160
Thank you for your sacrifice.
That's a $250 card on used. And I got it for $160. I'm like, yo, bro. Junkyard Wars, baby. Anyway, Steam Machine. I know it's going to be good. And I don't think we're going to get any Valve, like, major Valve software with it, like a Half-Life 3, obviously. But they'll probably fully release Deadlock on it. That game looks nearly done at this point. Or we're going to get another Aperture demo like we did with the Steam Deck.
I was going to say something along those lines of they love using Aperture as this is our fun little idea thing. The Aperture like bridge builder is an example of that as well. So I'd love to see something like that for the Steam Machine.
Oh, speaking of Aperture, the Aperture science levels in Entropy.
Oh, David, no, don't spoil it.
Oh, I'm not going to say anything more.
Yeah, don't say anything more than that.
There's
some cool ass stuff in that game.
I was just like, man, they did that.
They did that. Yeah. And there's like another thing about Entropy.
I'm all hyped.
Yeah, you do. Another thing about Entropy 2, there's a whole like Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 section where there's something chasing you and you got to get out of there and hide, and it's awesome. Like, I don't even know what Mr. X is from Resident Evil 2. Yeah, dude, there's a whole like, hey, you gotta hide, and you're hiding, and it's freaky and scary. And you gotta play that demo. I can't talk about it enough, but anyway, cap on the Steam Machine discussion. Hope it's good. Hope it's a decent price. I think, honestly, there's so much hyperbole out there about the RAM stuff. I think we're going to see stuff going back to normal by the beginning of next year. I don't think it's going to last that long. I think with a lot of companies making more chip factories and what have you, especially chip factories here, I think they're building one in Albany right now in New York, and a couple other places. But there's going to be more American investment in this. I think we're going to see, I mean, the timeline, it was at 1.5 years. I think we'll see in like a year time from now. March next year, I think the price will be a lot better. But
also the current troubles that what's it called, OpenAI is going through.
Yeah,
as a company, this whole AI bubble could pop really, really soon.
Yeah, who knows? But anyway, boys. So Half-Life. I see we have our Mr. Freeman right there, sitting there, looking at the microphone.
Indeed.
He has stayed silent like he usually does.
A man of few words.
A man of few words. What are you guys' final thoughts on the franchise? And if you were to recommend anything we've talked about today, what's the first thing people should check out of the Half-Life franchise? We'll see. We'll just boil it down to that. Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, something else.
Black Mesa.
Yeah.
I think giving Half-Life 1 a shot through a new lens is the best place to start if you know nothing about Half-Life.
And it can run on pretty much any modern laptop if you've had it in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
All the Valve stuff runs on anything pretty much right now. Like if you have a laptop or a desktop from the last 3 years, you're basically fine.
Mm-hmm.
And even dude, I'm rocking stuff from 2015. Like get it, like a GTX 970 is $30 on eBay. It's a crappy old 4 GB card, but it still gets driver support.
Oh, dang.
And you can run all that stuff on there. 1080p, just put it on medium. For Black Mesa, for example, that's the most demanding game out of the Half-Life games you'll play. and you're gonna have a great time. And also for the PC marketplace, last thing, as a guy who hounds on eBay, I uninstalled Twitter from my phone, so I now just look at eBay, which is not a good idea. Don't do that, boys and girls. But dude, the market, like, if you aren't afraid of using, you have somebody like a mechanic, for example, like same thing with a car. If you have a mechanic buddy and he knows what he's doing, and you can talk to them about getting a good car for not a whole lot of money, figure it out. Same thing with PC people. Like I tell people all the time, hey, if you want to know how to build one during this shortage, let me know.
Yeah, it's easy to get scalpers trying to sell. You can go to Costco and buy a $3,000 PC right now,
Sure.
and it's not worth $3,000.
No.
But when you see it on the store shelf and you don't know what you're talking about, you think it's the top of the line. So do your research.
Yeah, do your research. And right now, if you get your stuff smart right, like if you get your stuff right, you can probably make a good used computer. If you get the RAM for a good price, like DDR4, we're talking DDR4. If you can get that, I got a set of DDR4 last night for like $62, which is about a 15% markup from 4 months ago.
Which is not bad.
Not bad at all.
I mean, even talking to you about it, it's helping me realize that it's not as crazy as everyone is talking about it.
Yeah, it's just finding the information, honestly, and knowing what is good and what's bad. So, yeah. But I think we'll cap it there. Oh, sorry, David. What do you recommend people play?
I'm actually my recommendation for an entry point in the Half-Life franchise would actually be 2.
Interesting. Okay.
Not the base game though. Well, yes, the base game, but like nowadays, I would say get something like some kind of like mod that kind of, sort of brings like it a little bit more up to date because they exist out there. There's I've recently been playing through Half-Life 2 with something called M-Mod, which doesn't change the game in any significant way. It just kind of like does a number of subtle tweaks to kind of like give it the combat a little bit more of a modern feel, like the gunplay.
Yeah.
And then so stuff like that is really easy to do. And yeah, I would recommend starting with Half-Life 2 because 1, I love the game so much. And I started with Half-Life 2. I plunked it into my Xbox without knowing anything about the Half-Life franchise. And I loved it immediately.
Yeah, and you know what? Speaking of, last thing about Entropy, the gun animations are great, just like what you're talking about in those mods. But yeah, I think Half-Life 2, that's a great example. I think you could totally just jump into Half-Life 2 and then find out the other game later because they're both unique experiences of the franchise. Like say you play Half-Life 2, you're like, oh, that's great. What's the story about this? You play Black Mesa, it's almost like a prequel that was made before the second game, or after the second game, I should say.
It can easily fill that of being a prequel.
Yeah.
Because the Half-Life 2 explains so much, and you're straight in the world. You don't feel like you're not there, like you're not understanding it.
Yeah, and again, another thing on the hardware, these games go frequently on sale pretty much every major Steam sale in the year, whether it be spring, summer, or winter. You can get them for dollars for single digit stuff. Like Left 4 Dead 2 was $1 in the winter sale. Great title. And if you have a laptop within the last 10 years, I would say, that, isn't even the last 10 years, you can run. I had a laptop that was a crappy laptop from 2010, and I ran all the Half-Life games on it. Left 4 Dead on there. I ran Black Mesa on that sucker too. Low settings at 600p, but it worked. So if don't be super surprised if to play great games, you don't need the newest hardware. All the LAN PCs I have out there, I mean, we're talking 1070s, which are pretty decent, but even stuff with 970s in it, you can get a lot done for not a whole lot of money. Fortnite runs on a 970.
Yeah, I mean, like before you got the 3060, this had a 1070. I got a lot of mileage out of that. There's a lot of games.
Yeah,
I played basically all the games I wanted to play on the 1070, and basically the only thing that was escaping me was Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's right there. Yeah, and also when I first got into PC gaming, I had our old ass Windows XP computer from 2002 or 3 or 4, whenever XP came out. We got it when it came out. And I just ran Game Boy Advance emulators. That's why I ran what I could run, and it was great. And I had no Wi-Fi chip in it, so I had to get my laptop, download the ROMs, transfer it via USB. But hey, even whatever you got, like, know your limitations and figure out what runs on what, and Google's your best friend in that scenario. Just don't go all the way to Gemini. There's sometimes Gemini lies to you. Will a 970? It doesn't matter. But
Does the smelling AI exist?
does the smelling exist? Oh man, dude, you saying that, I was like, the smelling mechanic in Half-Life 1? What? Hey, maybe that's what they're gonna do for HLX.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
a smelling simulator,
Yeah.
you know?
How does the snow and the fire smell?
They're gonna do 4D in the frame. You're gonna have smell sensors in there.
Smell-o-vision.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Smell-o-vision.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll cap it off there. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. David, thank you for donating your valuable time and beard to this conversation. And Jacob, your thoughts and your uncanny likeness to Gordon Freeman. I appreciate you coming here and spending your time. Thank you guys for the conversation. Thank you guys for listening out there. And remember, when you hear that gravelly voice in the back of your mind, and he says, "Wake up and smell the ashes," another smell joke, just remember to say no to him and bless your face and Snarp Fangle on.
But bye now.